Chapter 605. The Banquet Hall. It was bustling. Before Fong Ping came in, the young people were whispering and chatting in low voices. Jiang Chao saw Fong Qing glaring at him like a tiger watching its prey. He was a little annoyed and whispered, "Baldy, I didn't offend you, did I?" This guy was looking at him like he was an enemy. What was he doing? "You're the Baldy." Fong Qing flipped his long hair. Yes, he still had shoulder-length hair. He was handsome and coquettish. As for Baldy, the past was like smoke. Who would remember that he was bald? After retorting, Fong Qing's gaze was unfriendly. "Fatty, you have a paragon ancestor. Do you have to be so disrespectful? Aren't you afraid of embarrassing your ancestor by sucking up to Fong Ping?" Jiang Chao looked at him for a while, then at him. After a while, he said, "Baldy, what are you looking at? I can't stand people like you. Shameless. You're shameless, and you're embarrassing your family." Jiang Chao was speechless. What was wrong with this guy? Did I offend you? Fong Qing sneered. At this time, seeing that Fong Ping had already appeared at the door, Fong Qing said with disdain, "Show off. I can't stand people like this. They get arrogant when they succeed. Fatty, don't learn from him. Also, stay away from him next time. Don't let him lead you astray." Jiang Chao was speechless. Was this Baldy breaking ties with Fong Ping? This time, Fong Qing really did not care about Fong Ping. He was full of disdain. After listening for a while, Jiang Chao did not want to say anything. Fong Ping, who was in front, greeted everyone and quickly went to the inner area where the grandmasters gathered. After Fong Ping left, Fong Qing spat and said, "Look at him. He's like a villain who's intoxicated by success. This kind of person is the most shameful. With him like this, it's easy to lead others astray. Stay away from him in the future." Having said that, Fong Qing flipped his long hair, a friendly smile on his face. The next moment, he walked quickly to Fong Yuan and said with a smile from a distance, "Student Fong Yuan, I heard that you're coming to MCMQ this year? Do you know about the selection of instructors for new students? Coincidentally, I'm teaching new students this year. The rank 6 martial artists in school are already old. Look at Li Hansong. Do you know what his nickname is? Iron Head. If you only know how to headbutt people in battle, sooner or later you'll become an idiot. He's also taking in new students this year. Do you dare to choose him as a mentor? Do you see that Teacher Song over there? Oh, you know him? That's great. Teacher Song. How do I put it? Not only is he old, he's also very old-fashioned. He didn't get along with your brother in the past. If you choose him as your tutor, he'll definitely take revenge on you. That's why I'm still the best choice when it comes to choosing a mentor this year. I have a good relationship with your brother, so I can take care of you." While Fong Qing was exaggerating, Jiang Chao's eyes were glued to it. Don't you have any shame? He had just berated Fong Ping to the point that he was nothing, and now he was sucking up to Fong Ping's younger sister, and even wanted to take her as his student. Baldy's shamelessness really put him to shame. Fong Ping did not care about what was happening in the periphery. At this moment, Fong Ping had already entered the inner circle and was exchanging pleasantries with the grandmasters. After exchanging pleasantries for a while, Zhang Tao smiled faintly. "The divine weapon auction, let's start when it's time." Fong Ping wore a smile on his face, but he was cursing in his heart. "Old Zhang is too much. Do you think it's easy for me to attend a grandmaster banquet? What's the meaning of this divine weapon auction?" Cursing aside, Fong Ping still smiled. "Don't worry, Minister. I'm still preparing for the auction. I've invited all the seniors here today, and I'll definitely let them return with a fruitful trip. But before that, I've prepared a little game to liven things up a little." Beside him, Tianmu chuckled. "I've heard that you're going to do something good to encourage the youngsters. Come, let us see what you can come up with. The Grandmaster Banquet was usually a chance for everyone to relax. Eating and drinking was enough. As for letting the juniors compete, they usually did not do that. Martial artists did not participate in exhibition matches. Even if it was the juniors, the powerhouses would not let them compete at this time. There was no need for that. Everyone wanted to see what Fong Ping was going to do. Did this kid not want to play some new tricks? They wanted to see how new he could be. Seeing this, Fong Ping smiled, then coughed softly. Although it was not loud, the middle-ranked and low-ranked martial artists at the periphery felt as if it was right next to their ears. They looked at Fong Ping immediately. Fong Ping laughed brightly. It's my honor to have everyone here in MCMAU today. Taking this opportunity, Fong Ping also prepared some small gifts for everyone. Let's play a little game to liven things up. Those who want to participate can do so. After saying that, Fong Ping looked at the crowd and said, "Everyone, please stand around. The game is very simple. I believe everyone will be satisfied." The people at the periphery walked around one after another. At this time, a miniature sun city suddenly fell from the sky. Like a real scene, it filled the center of the hall in an instant. In the crowd, Fang Yuan was stunned. It was her first time seeing Fong Ping's materialization. For a moment, she was a little dazed. Why did Sun City appear here? Although it was only a miniature model, Fang Yuan could still recognize it at a glance. At this time, a divine weapon, dozens of alloy weapons, and a large number of energy stones and energy fruits appeared in Fong Ping's hands. Although there were also these in the hall, the quantity of energy fruits was probably the worst kind. The energy stones were also burning energy, but they could not be taken away. At this moment, seeing this scene, everyone seemed to know what Fong Ping was going to do. Fong Ping casually tossed these things into the small city, one after another. Then, a large amount of imperishable substance suddenly surged out of Fong Ping's body. These golden imperishable substances gradually formed a golden ball, which Fong Ping also casually tossed into the small city. Fong Ping chuckled. The game is very simple. Everyone can enter and search for treasures from now on. Whoever finds them will get to keep them. It's all about luck and speed. If you find them, don't fight for them. After all, it's just a game. It won't be good to hurt the harmony. Among them, the divine weapon and that golden imperishable substance are the most precious. I think they'll be of some help to everyone. As soon as he said this, someone asked hurriedly, "Can everyone go in?" Of course, but I don't think the Grandmasters will go in. Don't worry, everyone. As soon as this was said, some of the Grandmasters behind Fong Ping felt a headache coming on. "We want to go in." But this is so small, some were hesitant. The small city that Fong Ping conjured looked like it was only about 100 square meters. Fong Ping laughed. "You'll know when you go in. You can go in now." As he spoke, the small city began to change. Gradually, it seemed a little illusory and hazy. In the crowd, as Fong Ping spoke, someone had already flown into the small city at an extremely fast speed. It was none other than Qin Fengqin. This fellow's eyes were glowing when Fong Ping took out those things. Even Fang Yuan, who was listening to his bluff, was a little shocked. Now that Fong Ping said he could go in, he rushed in without hesitation. As soon as Qin Fengqin entered, some of the Grandmasters behind him laughed. "Go in. What are you waiting for?" Some of the Grandmasters motioned to their descendants. "Are you stupid? Why are you still watching? Go in quickly." In the next moment, everyone rushed toward the small city. One by one, they entered the small city and soon disappeared before everyone's eyes. Fong Ping saw that many MCMAU students were hesitating. He laughed. MCMAU instructors and students can go in and try. It's just a small game. As soon as he said this, many instructors and students could not hold back and entered one after another. Some of the young people who had not entered were a little surprised. There were many middle and low-ranked martial artists who came today. There were at least 400 to 500 of them. However, now that 300 to 400 people had entered, not a single sound came out from the hazy, small city. It was as if these people did not encounter each other when they entered. Very soon, everyone began to enter one after another. Even Feng Yuan was curious and followed Chun Yunxi into the room. After they had all entered, Zhang Tao glanced at Fang Ping. After a moment, he said slowly, "You didn't make this just for a game, did you?" Before Fang Ping could speak, Nan Yunyue, who was beside him, frowned and said, "Hiding Mount Sumeru in a mustard seed? Has your materialization already reached such a level?" The small city that Fang Ping had materialized was not big. However, there was still no sound after hundreds of people entered. This was a little unexpected. Fang Ping laughed. "It's called a game, but it's not really a game. The main thing is to do a test. Minister, do you think martial artists can distinguish the real from the fake when the materialized objects have reached this stage?" Zhang Tao said lightly, "Of course. Rank 7 martial artists can distinguish the real from the fake now." "Minister, what about your materialized objects? I can also differentiate between the real and the fake. No one below rank 7 should have this ability, right? Those at the Essence Blood Unity realm might be able to sense that something is amiss, but the others haven't reached the stage where they can externalize their mental strength. I feel that it will be very difficult to tell." Fang Ping said with a serious expression, "I came up with this, saying that I'm playing a game, but it's not. I want to confirm if there are any flaws in my materialized object. I hope that seniors can give me some pointers. If it is used in a large-scale war, can we try to artificially create a battlefield that is beneficial to us? I have always wanted to create my own set of battle techniques, especially spiritual battle techniques. However, due to my lack of knowledge, I am unable to do so. I'm too young, and I've only been practicing martial arts for 2 years. It's very difficult for me to create high-difficulty combat techniques. Now, I felt that my materialization was different from the others. Perhaps I could work hard on it, but I didn't know how to improve it. Seniors, you are all experienced and knowledgeable. Today, even a peerless expert like the head is here. I hope that I can receive some pointers from seniors." Zhang Tao burst into laughter, and the others looked at each other. This was the first time since the beginning of the world. Fang Ping's Grandmaster's Banquet this time was to gather hundreds of Grandmasters to create a set of spiritual battle techniques for him. It had to be said that this kid had a good idea. When martial artists created their own combat techniques, it was all personal effort. They had to figure it out and derive it. Fang Ping, on the other hand, wanted to gather more than 100 Grandmasters this time to add bricks and tiles to his combat techniques. Zhang Tao laughed for a while, then said, "Kid, the reason why everyone creates their own combat techniques is because it is more suitable for them to unleash their own strength. We can help you, but the more people there are, the more ideas there are. The combat techniques that are created in the end may not be suitable for you." Fang Ping nodded and smiled. "There will always be a path that suits me by gathering the strengths of others. If I play to my strengths and avoid my weaknesses, I may not be able to discover where my flaws are. Onlookers see more clearly. If seniors can give me some pointers, maybe I can discover where I am weak." The original purpose of establishing martial arts universities was to gather the strengths of others and be inclusive. I came from a martial arts university. This time, I also want to return to the roots of martial arts universities and be inclusive. I hope that seniors will not be stingy with your guidance. Then Your goal is to create a combat technique to trap people. Zhang Tao glanced at the illusory small town and said slowly, there are many types of combat techniques. There are offensive ones, defensive ones, and trapping ones. Martial artists' main cultivation is still offensive ones. I want to be able to attack and defend, to trap and kill. You have high requirements. At this moment, Zhang Tao's interest was piqued. 100 grandmasters creating a set of combat techniques for a rank 7 martial artist. It had to be said that no one had done this before. Nan Yunhua glanced at the small town. Although it was hazy, she could still see through everything. She said, although your materialized object is huge, it is also because of this that its power is too scattered. I have long heard that you only know how to self-destruct when facing the enemy. However, even if your materialized object self-destructs, its power will not be as great as a same-rank martial artist's self-destruction. Otherwise, a middle-stage rank 7 martial artist's self-destruction is enough to seriously injure an upper-stage powerhouse. If a middle-stage rank 7 martial artist self-destructs his mentality, even an upper-stage martial artist will not be able to seriously injure him. Then what is the point of self-destruction? Is it only used to deal with the weak? To deal with the weak, a martial artist who self-destructs his own mentality is an idiot. Fong Ping looked embarrassed, but he nodded and said, I know, but it is very difficult for me to condense mentality because your direction is wrong. Nan Yunhua looked for a while and said, I can see that you are constantly enriching those buildings, trying to make them more realistic. This is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Actually, your top priority should not be this way. The first thing you need to do is condense the core. You have a lot of advantages, but you have neglected the core. Remember, the core is the foundation. That small house of yours needs to be constantly enriched, constantly compressed, and even solidified mentality. Don't you have a strong mentality and fast recovery? Then keep doing it. When the day comes that even rank 8 and rank 9 powerhouses cannot break into your small house, tell me, will you still be afraid of others breaking your materialized object? Do you still need to self-destruct? Fong Ping, self-destruction is not a good thing. If you self-destruct your mentality frequently, your mentality will always be in a disintegrating state. If this goes on, you will never have the chance to condense. Fong Ping frowned slightly. Nan Yunhua was right about this. Every time he self-destructed, he actually had to start all over again. Even if he could recover quickly, the recovered small city would become more illusory, more scattered, and his mentality would never be able to condense. This was actually a very big flaw. On the other side, Wu Chuan said, you want to attack and defend at the same time. And you also want to trap people. To trap people, your core small house, like what Mayernan said, should continue to solidify. Fong Ping, self-destruct less. Your mentality is extremely scattered, and you don't even have the toughness of an early-stage rank 7. We did not realize this before. Only now do we know that your self-destruction might be able to show off now. However, once you reach rank 9, no, rank 8, after rank 8, your mentality self-destruction will have limited damage to a rank 8 golden body. No matter how strong your mentality is, I am afraid it will be difficult to harm a rank 8 golden body. Therefore, your top priority now is to continuously condense and strengthen your mentality. As for increasing your attack power, Fong Ping, your mentality, physique, and vitality are all very strong, but you are still too scattered these powers, unable to form a unity. Previously, you seemed to be unable to achieve mentality-vitality fusion. Now, you can achieve mentality-vitality fusion, then you can try to achieve Myriad Dao fusion. Of course, not Li Changxing's Myriad Dao fusion, but your own strength fusion. On this point, you can actually ask Li Changsheng. Li Changsheng, don't always be so protective. Don't forget, you are still a teacher. You guys have taught too little about the use of strength. On the side, old man Li was a little embarrassed. Lu Fengru also did not say a word. Indeed, because Fang Ping had grown too fast, they had also neglected these. In reality, Fang Ping was not weak. In other words, his strength was extremely strong. However, his control and exertion of strength were extremely weak. He had a rank 8 golden body, a middle stage rank 7 mentality, a superhuman recovery ability, and a rarely seen materialized object. However, Fang Ping's strength was too mixed, too much, too messy. The current him might be able to compete with an upper stage rank 7 martial artist. However, if he really encountered a peak rank 7 martial artist, such as Chun Yaoting in the past, Fang Ping would not be a match for him 99%. Old man Li was not as strong as Fang Ping was now. However, he was able to enter the rank 8 ranking at that time, not only because he had killed a rank 8, but also because old man Li's attack power really had the destructive power of a rank 8. However, Fang Ping did not have such strength. As for Fang Ping being aware of his own shortcomings, and even using this opportunity to borrow everyone's strength and wisdom to complete his own sublimation, many people felt that Fang Ping's wisdom was still very high. It was not that grandmaster powerhouses would not really cherish their own things. Some things, if others did not guide you, you would not be able to do anything. However, now, Fang Ping had left behind a lot of benefits. Right now, their juniors were currently snatching the benefits from Fang Ping's materialized object. Since they had taken the benefits, it would be embarrassing if they did not say something real at this time. A large group of grandmasters began to give advice and suggestions. Zhang Tao, who was in a desperate situation, also began to help to deduce. The others were still snatching treasures in the small town, but hundreds of grandmasters were now writing and drawing. Some were demonstrating their own deductions on the spot. The drafts beside them were written one after another. Seeing this scene, Wu Quishan could not help but chuckle softly. This kid is really not willing to lose out. If it were any other day, it was impossible to gather so many grandmasters. It was impossible to let so many grandmasters help you deduce combat techniques. Fang Ping himself was too young, too inexperienced. The possibility of him wanting to create his own combat techniques was not high. If that was really the case, he could only continue his journey of self-destruction. This was the foundation of his powerful combat strength. However, this was not a long-term solution. When he reached rank 8 or 9, Fang Ping would be at a great disadvantage. Today, there were many powerhouses who had mastered their own origin path. Having mastered their own martial arts path, such powerhouses collectively helped to give advice and suggestions. Fang Ping could save countless years of time to deduce combat techniques. Just a few divine weapons and some energy stones. What were they worth? Someone like Zhang Tao, who helped others deduce combat techniques, would not be bribed with such a small amount of benefits. Beside him, Chen Yaoting also smiled in satisfaction. He is indeed a smart person. Even when he was deducing mentality cultivation back then, he did not gather so many people. This kid, this time he got lucky. In order to deduce mentality cultivation back, then many grandmasters in Sino Nation also participated. However, at that time, there were not many grandmasters in Sino Nation. A group of them still had to guard the catacombs. The powerhouses who really had the time and energy to deduce cultivation techniques were only 30 to 50 people. It could not be compared to now. Now, it was not to deduce that kind of cultivation technique. It was just personal combat techniques, and the progress was extremely fast. Fang Ping was indeed a really smart person. He gave up small profits to gain big benefits. Before this, people thought that Fong Ping was stupid and wasteful. Now, perhaps no one would think so. Chapter 606. In the hall, Fong Ping listened with fascination. This was the first time since he started learning martial arts that there were so many powerhouses explaining martial arts to him seriously. It was not that old man Li and the others did not want to teach. It was just that they had no time and no opportunity to teach. Fong Ping improved too quickly. You had just taught him how to fight as a rank 3, and he was already a rank 5 the next day. You had not finished explaining rank 5 knowledge, and he was already a rank 7. In the end, his rank had surpassed everyone, and he felt that he could not teach anymore. Martial arts, in the end, must return to the basics. Even at the impasse, it's not that the two sides are fighting across space, fighting across a region. That kind of fighting is fine. However, the further the fighting distance, the weaker the strength, and the energy will be scattered. A real life and death battle is still close combat. It's not that you're weak in close combat, that you're low end. On the contrary, the reason why martial artists are not called cultivators or wizards is because we rely on the sublimation of our own strength. Fong Ping, don't forget the fundamentals of martial arts. Starting from aspiring martial artists, we've been building our bodies, forging our bones, and honing our bodies. We don't rely on external objects. Things like divine weapons are external objects. I can kill people from 1,000 miles away. It's not a problem for me to kill ordinary people, but what about people of the same rank? These are just some of the branches. I kill people from 1,000 miles away because the enemy is too weak. I'm too lazy to run 1,000 miles, so I control my mentality to kill him just to save myself some trouble. These words were said by Zhang Tao. Fong Ping was extremely impressed. He was not impressed by his strength, but by his nonchalance in pretending to be weak. F***CK. He said that killing people from 1,000 miles away was not worth mentioning, as if it was something that could be done casually. However, did anyone present, even Nan Yunyue, have the ability to do so? Nan Yunyue could not even do it 100 miles away, much less 1,000 miles. Killing a weakling from 10 miles away was still possible. This person, the stronger he was, the better he was at pretending. Fong Ping was extremely impressed. He had to learn this. Next time, when teaching others, he could also say, killing people from 1,000 miles away, it's a piece of cake. Beside him, Tianmu nodded. That's right, Fong Ping. Materialization isn't how you think it is. I think you're pursuing the fighting style of the ancient martial arts era, but is it really stronger than our modern era? Not necessarily. I've also come across the remains of a battle between warriors from the ancient martial era. The rank 9 from the ancient martial era might have more tricks up their sleeves, but if I were to encounter them, I would definitely be able to kill them in a life and death battle. Tianmu said confidently. No one doubted him. Even Zhang Tao said with a smile, indeed, it's the truth. If I were to fight against the absolute martial artists of the ancient martial era, I would also have the confidence to kill them. Where do we fall short? Time. Because of the gap in martial arts, we lack the accumulation of some knowledge. If we have enough time to deduce the mental cultivation method, then our cultivation speed will no longer be limited. Once that happened, the modern martial artists would experience a blowout period. At that time, the scene of countless experts in the ancient martial era would be even more prosperous in this era. They spent thousands of years, perhaps even longer, to achieve prosperity in the later stages. What about us? Although we have a bit of a foundation, more of it is the modern era that has opened up the new martial arts era. How many powerhouses had appeared in China in less than 100 years? There are more than 500 high-ranked people, and it's getting faster and faster, more and more. This is the accumulation of less than 100 years. Fong Ping, you can imagine if we were given 1,000 years, 10,000 years, how prosperous it would be. If we solve the problem of mentality shackles, then everyone would be able to achieve high ranks. Perhaps there would be an unprecedented era of all high ranks. At this moment, Zhang Tao's confidence was at its peak. He was high-spirited and full of vigor. Modern martial artists were no worse than ancient martial artists. Even if they found the cultivation methods of the ancient martial era other than the mentality cultivation method, the rest was not important. The reason why they needed to find the mentality cultivation method was because modern martial artists did not have enough time and accumulation. If they had 300 to 500 years, there would be more powerhouses. Why would they need the cultivation methods of the ancient martial era? Fong Ping felt that the ancient martial era was better than the modern era. Zhang Tao wanted to tell him that his thinking was wrong. Fong Ping saw the excitement and arrogance of these old men. He coughed softly and said that, "Seniors, I know that the modern martial artists are awesome and powerful, but can you help me deduce the combat techniques first?" A bunch of old men and old women who only knew how to eat and drink. They were good at bragging. It was time to get down to business. Peerless people liked to pretend. Fong Ping felt that these grandmasters were not good people. Zhang Tao glanced at him. He was very unhappy that Fong Ping had interrupted him. However, considering that the other party was still young, Zhang Tao decided not to argue with him. At this moment, Zhang Tao waved his hand. The drafts of the Grandmaster's deductions landed in his hands. Zhang Tao had been paying attention to them. At this moment, he had an idea. He said, "Fong Ping, what we deduced might not be the best, but it should be the most suitable for you now. As for the specific arrangement of the cultivation methods, you still need to do a summary. Let me first talk about the summary of the cultivation methods that I gave you." What Zhang Tao said was very simple. Did Fong Ping not want both offense and defense? Did he not want to trap people and kill them? Did he not want to unify the strength? Simple. Unifying the essence, spirit, and soul. It was difficult to do, but it was not difficult to say. Half an hour later, Zhang Tao was done. At this time, some young martial artists also walked out of their materialized objects. Some were overjoyed, while some looked gloomy. Most of them gained something, but some unlucky ones did not encounter anything after entering. At this moment, Fong Yuan rushed out excitedly. She was both happy and surprised. Once she came out, she rushed toward Fong Ping, saying excitedly, "Brother, I saw me." These words made people feel confused, but many people still reacted. Some of the grandmasters smiled knowingly. As for Fong Ping, he glanced at his sister. Suddenly, he stretched out his hand and grabbed. A shadow appeared in his hand. He smiled. "You mean this?" "Yes, yes. Brother, you..." Before Fong Yuan could finish her sentence, Fong Ping suddenly swallowed it. He swallowed it. Not only did he swallow it, but Fong Ping also burped. Fong Yuan's eyes reddened instantly. She looked at Fong Ping pitifully, looking aggrieved. "Did you eat me? I'm sorry, Gun Gun. I'm going to eat you guys. Not only you, but also Mom and Dad." Fong Ping chuckled. 2 more apparitions appeared in his hands. The next moment, Fong Ping swallowed the 2 shadows. "Fong Ping." Fong Yuan looked aggrieved. Damn it! Although they were only 3 shadows, why did he eat them? And he ate them in front of her. Fong Yuan felt aggrieved. Zhang Tao and the others were speechless. Was this kid crazy? Why did he have to eat them? They were a manifestation of Fong Ping's own mentality. They were one with him, an illusion of his own mentality. In other words, the shadows looked like Fong Yuan and the others, but they were actually himself. Fong Ping could retract his body with just a thought. However, this kid just had to eat them. How boring. They looked at Fong Ping's sister's aggrieved face. The Grandmaster's faces turned red. They wanted to laugh and scold him at the same time. This kid Fong Ping really had nothing better to do. Not only were the Grandmasters speechless, but the young martial artists were also stunned. Qin Fengqing, who had just rushed out, had a look of disdain on his face. This guy was really boring. Fong Ping ate 3 shadows. Suddenly, he looked at Tang Feng and smiled. Instructor Tang Feng's expression was dark. He gritted his teeth and said, "Come, I'm sorry to offend you." As soon as he said that, Fong Ping moved. In the next moment, both of them appeared in a small, narrow house. Outside, almost no one below rank 7 could see them. The others could see clearly. Zhang Tao said, "Remember, the martial artists you pull in can't be much stronger than you. The purpose of pulling them in is to prevent them from escaping and force them to fight you at close range. You have to maximize your advantage." "Understood," Fong Ping replied. Then, it was as if he had become one with the small house. His hands were like blades, and he attacked Tang Feng quickly. Tang Feng let out a roar. His fists turned blood red as he fought Fong Ping at close range. However, when Tang Feng's fists hit Fong Ping and the small house were one. The small house trembled, but Fong Ping himself did not suffer much of the impact. Let your mentality share the pressure. When you fight, use all your strength and merge it as one. Zhang Tao was still giving pointers. At this time, Fong Ping used both his hands and feet, every move vicious. The space in the small house became smaller and smaller. In the end, the two of them were fighting each other within inches of each other. Block his ability to sense and absorb energy from the outside world. As for yourself, although you recover quickly, don't use it now. You can build a channel between the core and the outside world, open only to yourself. This can be done. In the materialized object, you are the god. Cut off his connection with the outside world. He can only rely on himself to recover when he's injured, but you can use energy from the outside world to recover. Tang Feng, destroy his core. Otherwise, you're dead. At this time, in the small house, Fong Ping was suppressing Tang Feng. Fong Ping's attacks were ruthless and ruthless. Every part of his body was a weapon, a sharp weapon. His elbows, fists, and toes were all lethal weapons. Tang Feng was experienced, but he was trapped in the small house. At this moment, he was being beaten to a dead end by Fong Ping. He kept vomiting blood. His flesh was torn. Fong Ping's hands were like eagle claws, tearing Tang Feng's flesh a few times, almost breaking his bones. Outside, Huang Jing's expression was dark and helpless. He said softly, "This brat has wanted to beat him up for a long time. This time, he finally found the chance." This kind of injury was not considered too serious for a rank 7 martial artist, but it was not light either. However, Fong Ping was currently practicing his combat techniques. Tang Feng had also agreed to be this combat techniques test subject. Even if he was beaten up, he could only blame it on his bad luck. At this moment, Fong Ping grabbed Tang Feng's arm with both hands and growled. In the next moment, he let go of Tang Feng's arm. He smiled and said, "Instructor, I've torn your left arm. You can't move it now." Tang Feng's expression was dark. He said nothing. His left arm stopped moving as he continued to fight with Fong Ping. After a while, Fong Ping's hand moved like a phantom. He formed a saber with one hand and slashed down. He said, "My right arm is broken too. I've broken his throat. I've dug his heart out. Instructor, you should be dead." In the small house, Fong Ping's words were heard. Soon, the small house disappeared. Fong Ping grinned, standing on the spot. Tang Feng looked helpless. According to the results of the battle, his limbs were broken, his throat crushed, and his heart dug out. In short, he was dead. Beside him, Zhang Tao glanced at Fang Ping and smiled. It's not perfect. It has something to do with Tang Feng's weak ability. Tang Feng was speechless. It was a very sad thing. Yes, I'm too weak. After fighting for so long, according to the progress, he only managed to break through Fang Ping's flesh. In other words, Fang Ping's flesh was slightly injured, and then he killed him. Tian Mu looked at Fang Ping and said, "You didn't do anything wrong when you self-destructed your mentality. You were weak then, so you could protect yourself. Now that you're stronger, your strong mentality is a treasure for trapping and defending the enemy. As for you, you have to learn to use your strong physical strength to kill the enemy. Fang Ping, we envy you. You can attack and defend. You can even use your strong mentality to separate the enemy and fight alone. In this small house, even if there are many opponents, you can separate some of them and drag one of them into the fight. As long as they can't break through your core, you can kill one of them and drag another one into the fight. You have to learn to play to your advantage. Your core must be constantly solidified and filled. One day, if you can make it so that even the strongest can't break through your core, then you'll have the ability to compete with the strongest. You can't kill him, and he can't kill you. You can even trap him and bring him back to be killed by stronger people." Fang Ping glanced at Zhang Tao. Zhang Tao's expression did not change. He said lightly, "You're not qualified yet. I can break it with a puff of air." Fang Ping curled his lips. Puff, puff. He did not believe that Zhang Tao could break through his core with a puff of air. Of course, he would not try. This set of combat techniques that everyone had created for him was not so much a combat technique. It was more like a new way of fighting and a reasonable use of strength. This was also the essence of combat techniques. Fang Ping thought for a while and asked, "Minister, if I'm proficient in combat techniques, can I kill a rank 8? Zhang Tao said lightly, "Can you trap a rank 8? If you can, then you can kill the other party. Because you've trapped the other party, it means that he can't break through your mentality cage. At this point, if he can't break through the mentality cage, then he can only wait for death. Because you and the hut are one. If it can't be broken, it means that your mentality defense is always there. This is the root of your invincibility. However, once your hut is broken, you'll be in danger. At this point, it's almost impossible to rely on a set of combat techniques to reverse everything and ignore the difference in strength. When that time comes, you can try to self-detonate your core and escape. Remember, unless it's absolutely necessary, don't self-detonate your mentality again. After self-detonating again and again, your mentality is so scattered and shallow. How can you achieve unity in rank 8? Rank 8 martial artist's invincible golden body was also related to mentality. At this time, during a battle, mentality would usually be withdrawn into the body. Power was the only thing. In essence, Li Changxing's unity of 10,000 Daos is the right path. The only flaw is that it can't produce imperishable substances, which leads to the loss of vitality. If it wasn't for this flaw, then unity of 10,000 Daos is the ultimate path that all martial artists pursue. Fang Ping nodded. Then, Fang Ping put away all the drafts and deductions beside him. He bowed deeply and said with a face full of gratitude, "Thank you, seniors, for your appreciation. You didn't hold back and poured your blood, sweat, and tears into deducing this combat technique that suits me the best." This combat technique was deduced by more than 100 grandmasters. It's born to kill the enemy within an inch, to kill the enemy and calm the chaos. Then I'll take the liberty to name this combat technique Myriad Teachers Chaos Pacification Technique. It's called Myriad Teachers Pacification Technique. Everyone was silent. Fang Ping looked confused. He lifted his head to look at everyone. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, he smiled and said, "Seniors, this is Myriad Teachers Pacification Technique. Myriad Teachers Pacification Technique." Zhang Tao smiled faintly. The other grandmasters were also dumbfounded. "Kid, aren't you afraid of being beaten to death for saying this?" Fang Ping said with a serious face, "Myriad Teachers Chaos Pacification Technique, of course, refers to the myriad teachers. I can't use 100 teachers, right? That's too unpleasant. To calm the chaos within an inch. I feel that this is also the dream of all grandmasters. It's also the dream of martial artists of my generation. This is our lifelong pursuit. There's no one who doesn't want to calm everything down. This time, I chose this name to show my ambition." Fang Ping's face was resolute. He suddenly shouted, "In this life, I will calm the chaos. This ambition will never change." Some people did not react. After hearing that, someone immediately said, "Grandmaster Fang has great perseverance, great courage, great." He could not say it. Someone glared fiercely at the idiot who answered, "Myriad Teachers Chaos Pacification Technique. Did you King forget what someone's name was? Master of 10,000 people or Master of 10,000 years? Master of 10,000 paths?" Most importantly, he had even added his own name into the list. Just how thick-skinned was he? Zhang Tao shook his head and said no more. Forget it. This kid could choose whatever name he wanted. If he did not feel ashamed, what else could he say? However, if Fang Ping's combat technique was passed down, Zhang Tao felt that the future generations might misunderstand something. Forget it. Who knew how many years it would be in the future? If they really treated Fang Ping as the master of 10,000 paths, it was nothing. The hall, which had been quiet for a moment, was now filled with laughter. The group of grandmasters did not know whether to laugh or cry. They could not help but laugh out loud. In the crowd, Zhang Dingnan held a glass of wine and looked at Fang Ping with a faint smile. He heard that someone had always been dissatisfied with the name he chose for the combat technique. But no matter how terrible his combat technique was, could it compare to his shamelessness? Nobody was willing to talk about the combat technique's name. At this moment, everyone was looking at those who came out. In the crowd, a martial artist in military uniform was shining with a golden light, his face full of excitement. Seeing this, many people shook their heads. Shady. This was definitely shady. So many people went in, but the one who obtained the imperishable substance was actually someone from the military department. It was fine if it was someone from the military department, but it was a powerhouse from the military department who was injured. If this was not shady, what was? This kid Fang Ping was obviously trying to curry favor with the military department. On the military department's side, Li Daong and Tianmu looked satisfied. Very good. Beautifully done. When they saw the person who obtained the divine weapon, all the grandmasters wanted to curse. Fang Ping, this bastard, was too much. He was playing shady again. The person who obtained the divine weapon was not someone from MCMAU, but a female martial artist brought by Nan Yunyue. She was Nan Yunyue's only descendant. Nan Yunyue's life was full of misfortune. She had an older sister, who was the female vice-chancellor of FMS, but the relationship between the two sisters was not exactly harmonious. As for Nan Yunyue herself, her husband died early, and her only daughter had also passed away many years ago. The female martial artist she brought this time was her granddaughter. She had grown up by her side since she was young. The divine weapon was obtained by the other party. If this was not shady, what was? Fong Ping had a good plan. He was trying to curry favor with the military department and the Department of Investigation Services. He was also someone from the Education Ministry, the 3 ministries and 4 prefectures, and the Guardian of the South was his senior, shameless villain. To think that we even helped you derive combat techniques. However, when they saw them, they more or less gained something. Many of them obtained A-grade alloy weapons. Although everyone was a little jealous, they felt that it was acceptable. A-grade alloy weapons were worth a lot. Many people glanced at Fong Ping, who was smiling foolishly from the corner of their eyes. They could not help but laugh. This kid was really smart. This scene could be considered a happy ending for everyone. At least the young people who went in more or less gained something. As for Qin Fengqin, who was the first to go in, he was empty-handed. At this moment, he was eating and drinking crazily, cursing Fong Ping inside out. Bastard. Shameless bastard. He was the first to go in and went straight for the divine weapon. He had seen the divine weapon. In the end, the divine weapon escaped right under his nose. He could not even catch up. Then, he asked him to look for the imperishable substance. He had seen it too, right under his nose. In the end, that bastard cheated. A small house fell from the sky and suppressed him. Qin Fengqin was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. How could it be like this? They had agreed not to cheat. They had agreed that it would be up to fate. How could they be so shameless? Eat until you're broke. Qin Fengqin wolfed down his food. At this moment, only these food and drinks could comfort his wounded heart. At this moment, Fong Ping was already talking to the grandmasters about the divine weapon auction. This time, the divine weapon auction is not to make money, nor is it because MCMEU has so many divine weapons that they have nowhere to use them. The main purpose is to improve the strength of Sino-Nation powerhouses. Fong Ping said seriously, Minister Zhang and the others know the origin of the divine weapons. We actually don't have many. This time, in front of everyone, I announce that we will donate 30 divine weapons to the Department of Education for free. When these words came out, everyone was stunned. Even Li Daong, Nan Yunyue, and the others were stunned. 30 divine weapons. Fong Ping said calmly, Of course, I'm not the only one who donated. FMS Yao Chungjun donated 10, and MU Wang Jinyang 4, MCMU Li Hansong 4. We came from martial arts universities. Since we've achieved something, naturally, we have to give back to martial arts universities. Give it back to the Department of Education. I hope that the Department of Education can use this batch of divine weapons on some of the martial arts universities' grandmasters. They are conscientious, teaching and educating. Their culture can bring peace to the country, and their martial arts can stabilize the country. In the last battle in Tiannan, many martial arts university vice-chancellors died in battle. The students saw it with their own eyes, and their hearts ached. Now that the students have gained something, I hope that our martial arts universities can make fewer sacrifices. When these words came out, some of the grandmasters had complicated looks in their eyes. There were many martial arts grandmasters present. Zhang Tao glanced at Fong Ping, helpless again. Good boy, he was giving his army 30 divine weapons to the martial arts grandmasters or the Wuan military's grandmasters. No, the other departments would get some as well. He could keep half of them for himself. At most, he would get 15 divine weapons. However, there were many martial arts grandmasters. How much should he get? However, whether it was the martial arts grandmasters or the Wuan military's grandmasters, they were all people from the Department of Education. Zhang Tao could not be bothered to say anything. However, this boy was good at selling favors. He could sell favors several times for one item. He should be grateful, right? The martial arts grandmasters should be grateful, right? The other martial arts grandmasters should be grateful, even if they did not get a divine weapon. Almost half of the grandmasters in Sino Nation now owed this boy a favor. It was like that in the last battle in Tian'an, and it was the same this time. Fong Ping had not finished speaking. He continued, "Other than the 30 donated, we will auction 30 this time. The price doesn't have to be high. If the seniors are really troubled, they can pay half and write an IOU for the remaining half. I have no objections. The auction is just a formality. After all, we can't make everyone have one. We can only use this kind of compromise method to let everyone pay as little as possible in order to get the divine weapons. As students, we don't want to see the teachers go to the battlefield empty-handed. How can we bear to do that?" Fong Ping said it bitterly, as if he had made a huge mistake by not giving everyone a divine weapon. In the crowd, Wu Quishan and the others were tired from listening. That was enough. If he continued, Fong Ping would become a saint. The Grandmaster Banquet had almost become Fong Ping's performance show. This boy's desire to perform was really strong. Without giving Fong Ping a chance to continue speaking, Wu Quishan coughed softly, glanced at Zhang Tao, and said, "Since Fong Ping has broken through to rank 7, he is no longer suitable to be the president of MCMAU Martial Arts Society. The university committee has decided that Chun Yunxi will be the president of the Martial Arts Society. Fong Ping will be appointed as the probationary vice-chancellor of Magic City Martial Arts University." As soon as the words were said, many people were surprised, but not too surprised. Fong Ping had become a rank 7 powerhouse. MCMAU would have to pay a price if they wanted to keep him. Although a 20-year-old vice-chancellor of a martial arts university was almost unheard of when MCMAU was founded, the old vice-chancellor had been appointed as the vice-chancellor when he was not that old. Special circumstances gave special treatment, so there was nothing to be surprised about. In the crowd, Fong Ping smiled and bowed to thank him. But in his heart, he was cursing. Old Wu was too much. How did it become probationary vice-chancellor? Probationary meant that it was not official. It also meant that this thing did not have official effects. If someone was said not to be suitable, they did not even need to ask for their consent. If someone was told to get lost, they would get lost. This was too much. Even as he thought that, he had to put on an expression of being overwhelmed by the favor and unable to take responsibility. Fong Ping smiled and said humbly, "I'm still young. The school values me too much. The Ministry of Education values me too much." Zhang Tao, Wu Quishan, and the others watched his performance with satisfaction. "Kid, the bait has been cast. How you perform in the future depends on you." In the crowd, Fan Yuan was stunned. "My brother has become the vice-chancellor? That's too fast." Chapter 607. With the combat techniques, he had earned a favor, repaid his debt, beat up Big Lion, and obtained the vice-chancellor. Before the Grandmaster Banquet ended, Fong Ping realized that he had done too many things. It was worth it. As for the expenses this time, what were they? As for the auction, Fong Ping did not organize any auction at all. While the youngsters were still rejoicing over their gains, Fong Ping clapped his hands. Soon, 60 MCMU students wearing red capes walked in. Each of them was holding a tray, with a divine weapon in the middle. They were in high spirits. Fong Ping laughed loudly. "Minister, let the grandmasters who are interested in buying a divine weapon choose one that suits them first. The rest will be given to you. What do you think?" Zhang Tao nodded slightly. He had no objections. Fong Ping coughed softly and said, "Divine weapons must be honed and forged again to be more suitable for everyone. It's very troublesome for us to modify ourselves." Zhang Tao suddenly felt that something was not right. Mother asterisk her. If you dare say it out loud, I'll hammer you to death. Modifying 30 divine weapons was not a small problem. It consumed a lot of energy. It was troublesome even for him. However, the eyes of the grandmasters present were shining. Could it be that there was a bonus of modification? They definitely had to buy the divine weapons. Fong Ping looked at Zhang Tao, beaming. He said, "Minister, I'll have to trouble you." Although Zhang Tao wanted to smack him to death, he looked indifferent at this moment. He chuckled and said, "Sure." Although that was what he said, Zhang Tao's voice rang in Fong Ping's ears. "Kid, if MCMAU wants to have a one-on-one battle with Skygate City, you still have to beg me. I won't say anything this time. If you want it to be fair, if you don't want Pinnacle to interfere, 10 divine weapons." Fong Ping's smile froze. "Old Zhang, you won't stop until I'm bankrupt, huh?" Fong Ping did not know that Zhang Tao had only gotten a wisp of origin energy after using his origin unique art. Of course, Fong Ping knew that if it was as Zhang Tao said, Zhang Tao would definitely have to pay a price. But old Zhang could not always catch him and pluck his hair. Fong Ping cursed in his heart, but he did not say anything. He quickly said, "As for the seniors who want to buy divine weapons, the auction this time is all rank 7 divine weapons." Divine weapons were worth more than 10 billion. According to the grading system in Townstar City, energy ores were divided into 9 grades. Nowadays, martial arts universities set the price of a rank 9 energy ore at 60 credits per gram, which was equivalent to 600,000 yuan per gram. 500 grams per caddy was worth 300 million. If energy stones were used as the unit of payment, this would be the standard price. If someone is willing to use their life essence, before he could finish, the grandmasters waved their hands. "Stop dreaming." "No. Even if I have it, I won't take it out. You brat, just give up on this idea." Fong Ping was helpless. A bunch of poor bastards. He knew that this group of poor people didn't have money. Forget it. He had done a good deed and sent a favor home. Fong Ping continued. "Other energy fruits, monster flesh, and some common core ingredients for pills can all be priced according to martial arts university's purchasing standards. Since I wasn't going to make money, I wouldn't hold an individual auction either. That would only hurt everyone's friendship. A divine weapon could only be bid by 3 people at most. Seniors could write down their desired price on a piece of paper and directly put it on the tray. The highest bidder will get the divine weapon." As he said that, Fong Ping smiled and said, "Also to let the seniors pay less if there are seniors who are willing to exchange their mentality combat techniques. 1 mentality combat technique will be priced at 3 billion. Of course, if there are rank 9 grandmasters who are willing to exchange their origin combat techniques, 1 origin combat technique will be priced at 10 billion. If there are peak powerhouses who are willing to exchange their origin combat techniques," Zhang Tao said with a dark expression, "All right, that's enough. Exchanging my ass." Did he really think that origin combat techniques were cabbages? Even if a whole bunch of rank 9 divine weapons were thrown here for him to exchange, Zhang Tao would not bother with them, much less a few dozen rank 7 divine weapons. At his level, who would really care about these things? Zhang Tao interrupted Fong Ping and asked, "Is there anything else?" "Huh, didn't you say that there are other things to auction?" Fong Ping said helplessly, "Those leather armors and armor harvested are all useful and can't be sold. As for the others, it's the same. MCMAU urgently needs these things." Before this, he had many other harvests, including a large number of high-ranked armors. Now, however, Fong Ping was not prepared to sell any of these things. He had to keep them. They would be of great use in the future. Hearing that, Zhang Tao thought about it and said nothing more. Indeed, MCMAU needed these things in the future. In the crowd, Some of the grandmasters did not mention this either. At this moment, someone asked softly, Fong Ping, can we really write IOUs? Only half. You must pay half. Fong Ping said apologetically. After all, these divine weapons don't belong to me alone. I still have to pay other people's fees. I don't care about the harvests, but I understand. For General Kwang to be able to do this, it's already beyond our expectations. Fong Ping glanced at the person who spoke. The smile on his face widened instantly. He chuckled and said, President Liu, you've also set your eyes on the divine weapons? President Liu has helped Fong Ping a lot. There's nothing more to say. You can always bid. No matter how high it is, you can write IOUs for all of them. As he said that, Fong Ping looked at the other grandmasters and said apologetically, President Liu has helped me a lot. Seniors, please forgive me. Everyone looked at President Liu enviously. President Liu was dumbfounded. I have helped you a lot. I don't think so. Why don't I remember? This brat Fong Ping. He had even called the Martial Arts Association a few times to scold people. Why was he so nice to him today? He could even write an IOU for all of them. This was a little embarrassing. In the crowd, Old Man Li glanced at President Liu. This fellow was finished. Fong Ping might not collect other people's debts, but your debts. Now that you've written an IOU with a sky-high price, you can only wait for the debt to be collected in the future. Believe it or not, people will come knocking on your door every few days to collect your debts. Do you believe that news of you, Guild Leader Liu, owing money and not returning it would spread throughout the Zhongshe world? If you don't return the money, I'll use violence to collect it. Do you believe me? Old Liu. Oh, Old Liu, it's best if you don't buy it. If you buy it, you'll end up miserable. Although President Liu felt that something was amiss, the temptation of a divine weapon still made his heart flutter. At this moment, President Liu heard Fong Ping's voice. President, you can quote 50 billion directly. No one can snatch away your divine weapon. You can choose whichever one you like. If you like it, it's yours. You don't have to pay a single cent anyway. Ever since the end of the youth tournament, Fong Ping had found someone to teach him telepathy. This was just a small skill. It wasn't much. President Liu's heart skipped a beat. 50 billion. All right, it sounded frighteningly high, but he didn't have to spend any money. Whichever one he liked, it would be his. How cool would that be? At the same time, Fong Ping continued to send telepathy to some people. Old Joe, you quoted 30 billion. I'll charge you at most 5 billion in resources. You can just write an IOU for the rest. Your grandson is a member of MCMAU. We're family. How can I let you return empty-handed? Old Sue, you can quote 20 billion. What do you mean? Give me something worth 3 to 5 billion, and the divine weapon will be yours. As for the IOU, it's just a joke. Can you really ask for it? Following Fong Ping's telepathy, very soon, some of the grandmasters looked delighted. Fong Ping did not send too many messages. He sent about 6 or 7 people a message. With a smile on his face, he said, Then we can start now. Seniors, feel free to quote your price. Although he said it casually, Fong Ping was staring at Old Man Li. Old Man Li's expression was dark. He ignored him. Fong Ping looked at Lu Fengru again. Lu Fengru pretended not to see it. When Wu Quishan saw Fong Ping looking at him, his face turned green. After a while, he said, Old Lu, don't quote blindly. 50 billion is too high. Old Joe, 30 billion. Don't you want to live? As soon as he said that, all the grandmasters looked at the 2 people in the crowd. These 2, on the other hand, looked annoyed. Wu Quishan peeped at their quotations. Shameless. Everyone was a powerhouse. They knew how to shield themselves with mentality. The key was that he was a rank 9. They were only rank 7. How could they block it? At this moment, both of them felt that something was not right. They glanced at Wu Quishan and then at Fong Ping. MCMAU was trying to scam them. Would there really be fools who would fall for it? As for themselves, they did not care. Fong Ping had already said that they could just give whatever they wanted. Fong Ping would not go so far as to trick them. However, the price of the divine weapon today would probably be much higher than before. This kid, Zhang Tao, was speechless. Fong Ping could hide it from others, but could he hide it from him? Even if it was mentality voice transmission, to him it was something he could listen to whenever he wanted. He wants so many IOUs. Could it be that he's planning to collect debts in the future? Zhang Tao laughed. Beside him, Nan Yunyue said lightly, "This kid is not a good person. You people, if you think you're taking advantage of him now, sooner or later you'll suffer a huge loss." Meet. Zhang Tao smiled. Suffer a huge loss? This kid can really make me suffer a huge loss? Nan Yunyue ignored him. As she spoke, she gestured to the people from the Department of Investigation Services next to her to quote their prices. Quote him tens of billions first, then write IOUs. As for suffering a huge loss in the future, we'll talk about that later. After she gestured to her people to quote their prices, Nan Yunyue said again, "How many divine weapons does he actually have?" This time, Fong Ping had taken out 60 of them. They also knew that FMS, NMAU, and CCMAU had given out 14 of them. That would be 74 divine weapons. It was simply unbelievable. Zhang Tao pondered for a moment and said, "Probably not many, about 10 or 20. The number of divine weapons that Fong Ping had taken out was actually more than he had expected. 74 divine weapons. If he could get 10 more later, that would be 84 divine weapons. This also meant that 84 grandmasters had obtained divine weapons, and their combat strength had increased. As for those with divine weapons, Zhang Tao had already informed them that those with divine weapons were not allowed to obtain them from Fong Ping. He had asked Fong Ping to take out these divine weapons to increase the strength of all high-ranked martial artists, not to make an individual stronger. 2 divine weapons in hand could not compare to 2 high-ranked martial artists with divine weapons in hand. Nan Yunyue pondered for a moment and said, "This time, after the distribution of divine weapons, Sino Nation has almost half of the high-ranked divine weapons. But the gap is still very big. He's a rank 7. Even a rank 6 martial artist could get so many before. You and Commander Li, why don't you think of something?" Zhang Tao was helpless. He knew what Nan Yunyue meant. She did not want them to slaughter the demons, but to go to Star Town and think of something. Star Town still had close to 40 divine weapons lying idle. Star Town had close to 100 divine weapons, but there were not that many high-ranked powerhouses. Many of them had 2 divine weapons. But this matter, how should he put it? Zhang Tao was still hesitating when Nan Yunyue suddenly said, "I think I'm about to break through. Before I break through, I'll go to Mount Royal Sea. Before I break through, I'll slaughter hundreds of demons. Will there be any problems?" When she said this, Zhang Tao's eyes moved. He was a little surprised and asked, "You really?" Nan Yunyue was not young anymore. At this moment, she was a little proud. She said indifferently, "Only you can break through, but I can't. If Li Zhen didn't rely on Star Town, if you didn't pick up a rank 9 monster plant, I would be number 1 in the same generation. Everyone says that I, Nan Yunyue, am the weakest among the 3 ministers. Don't they know that when you guys haven't reached the pinnacle, you were all defeated by me?" Zhang Tao did not know whether to laugh or cry. She even brought up something old and rotten. However, Nan Yunyue's breakthrough was a big deal. Zhang Tao confirmed again and again. "You're not mistaken, are you? Can I really break through? Nan Yunyue's expression turned ugly instantly. Mistaken? Are you looking down on me? Whether I can break through or not? I don't know. Seeing that Nan Yunyue was about to flip out, Zhang Tao coughed lightly, his expression solemn. If you can really break through, then don't go and slaughter the monsters. It's easy to arouse the hostility of the Thousand Demon Royal Court, and even the Forbidden Sea Demon race. If you really are one step away, then go to the Forbidden Catacombs. Sublimate in battle and kill many rank 9s in one fell swoop. When you break through, kill more rank 9s. The more you kill, the better. Next, we'll prepare to pacify the Forbidden Catacombs. When I broke through, forget it, let's not talk about it. Speaking of this, Zhang Tao felt a little stifled. When Li Jun broke through, the outside world only knew that he fought 1 against 3 and killed one of them, who was a rank 9. This rank 9 was not the pinnacle, but it was the top of the rank 9, similar to Nan Yunyue. What the outside world did not know was that the 3 great rank 9s were all top rank 9 like Nan Yunyue, and one of them was the master of the Monster Plant Royal Court. In the end, one of them was killed, and the master of the royal court had his origin destroyed by Li Jun. Only one was lucky enough to escape. Li Jun's breakthrough was a great achievement. He almost killed 2 pinnacle seedlings. Now, Nan Yunyue's breakthrough could at least kill some rank 9s, paving the way for the upcoming battle. As for him, Zhang Tao, it was really not worth mentioning. When he broke through the moment he woke up. Li Jun almost scolded him to death. It was a rule that the pinnacle did not make a move. At the pinnacle, it was a kind of limitation. However, if one had not reached the pinnacle, or was close to it, killing some people in an instant during the breakthrough was also nothing. Zhang Tao, this idiot, actually broke through in his sleep. This was a big deal. Li Jun really went crazy at that time. Of course, there were many reasons for going crazy. Not being able to take the opportunity to kill people was one. Zhang Tao breaking through in his sleep was another reason that made people go crazy. Although Zhang Tao felt a little regretful, he felt that breaking through in his sleep was very normal. At that time, he fought with a few top-rank 9 powerhouses for many days. He was exhausted, and his essence, spirit, and soul were depleted. He was too tired, but he also sublimated in the battle. In that kind of situation, breaking through after the battle was a matter of course. Li Jun could not be blamed for being angry. He could only say that Li Jun was narrow-minded. Without thinking about these past events, Zhang Tao confirmed again. Is it really just a step away from the door? If it's too far off, and I can't break through and get injured, delaying the breakthrough time, then it's not worth it. One more pinnacle was better than killing a few rank 9s. After the death of the Yang family's old ancestor, Sino Nation had one less pinnacle and had been somewhat passive. If Nan Yunyue could fill the gap, then Sino Nation's pressure would be much less. One pinnacle was enough to change a lot of things. Sino Nation had a total of 25 passageways. 24 were open, and 1 was not. As for the desperate zones, there were currently 14 people. If there were really 25 pinnacles, then Sino Nation would not have to worry at all. 1 pinnacle could suppress a territory. 1 person guarding a passageway, cutting off the restricted zone's communication with the outer realm. It was not just a matter of pacifying the turmoil. They might even be able to directly conquer the outer realm and migrate martial artists into the outer realm of the catacombs. Just like in the past, suppressing the restricted zone, the reopening of the bounded zone would bring about a flourishing era of glory. But now it could not be done. 14 pinnacles could not cut off the communication between the 2 places. This also caused Sino Nation to be passive, to wait, to defend, and to fight passively. The difference between 14 and 25 was too big. Nonsense. Of course I'm sure. Nan Yunhua was still quite polite to the two pinnacles before. But now that she had said that she was about to break through, Nan Yunhua was not as polite anymore. In the past, her strength was not as good as others, so there was nothing to say. Now that she was about to enter the desperate zones, who was afraid of who? I'm really going to break through. Good news, very good news. Zhang Tao did not care about her attitude. He was all smiles. Recently, the Sino Nation martial arts world had really had a series of happy events. First, the Tian'an catacombs had been pacified. Now, the Forbidden Catacombs was almost done too. The high-ranked martial artists had obtained a large number of divine weapons. All of this had happened in the past 1 or 2 years. Thinking of this, Zhang Tao suddenly looked at Fang Ping, who was smiling slyly. This kid was a blessing. The incident in Tian'an, the divine weapons, and even the Forbidden Catacombs were all related to this kid. Magic City Catacombs. Will it be decided because of him? Zhang Tao murmured. When Nan Yunhua heard this, she could not help but look at Zhang Tao. Are you sure? The 13 cities of Magic City Catacombs were not that easy to solve. You're actually pinning your hopes on this kid? Fang Ping felt the gaze on him. He tilted his head and glanced at Zhang Tao, grinning. Then he announced loudly, Old Joe bids 30 billion. Old, who bids 28 billion. Old by bids 19 billion. At this moment, Fang Ping did not have time to care about why Zhang Tao was looking at him. He began to announce everyone's bids loudly. These grandmasters did not treat IOUs as money. Anyway, they could write half of the IOUs. The bid of 20 billion was equivalent to the actual price. In fact, it was not higher than the actual price. Of course, they had to bid higher. Did they not see those bastards bidding sky-high prices? In the end, Fang Ping calculated 30 divine weapons. The lowest bid was 14 billion. The highest, President Liu quoted 50 billion. On average, it was more than 20 billion. 30 divine weapons, according to the quoted prices, were sold for 640 billion. Of course, many of the accounts could not be obtained. Fang Ping asked one by one and finally obtained 30 IOUs. The total debt was 420 billion. The actual resources obtained were 220 billion. Most of it was energy stones. These grandmasters more or less had some assets. They still had some energy stones. Dozens of grandmasters borrowed some from their friends and pooled some themselves. It was still possible to gather about 200 billion. They were not stingy and only thought of writing IOUs. 420 billion. Fang Ping was speechless. How much did the outside world owe him now? Old Manly, let's just count it as 1 trillion. Vice Chancellor 100 billion, Old Chun 60 billion, Big Lion 12 billion, Instructor 12 billion, Old Lu 10 billion, Minister Wang 7 billion, Qin Fengqing 3 billion. This was not all. Almost all the teachers and students in the school had written IOUs to him. However, he could not be bothered to calculate the small amount of millions or tens of millions. With this calculation, the debt that the outside world owed him now was more than 6 trillion. Moreover, 30 grandmasters had written IOUs to him this time. On MCMAU's side, except for Old Huang, everyone else had written IOUs. There were almost 40 grandmasters in debt. 1/10 of Sino Nation's grandmasters all owe me money. Fang Ping held the IOUs and patted Fang Yuan's head, murmuring, Raleigh, our Fang family must be strong. If they were not strong, it would be difficult to collect debts in the future. If they were strong, they would not have to worry about not having enough money to spend for a few lifetimes. If they ran out of money, they could just collect debts with the IOUs. They would have to pay some, right? They would have to calculate interest, right? Fang Yuan looked at Fang Ping strangely. Fang Ping chuckled. Remember, the grandmasters who just bought divine weapons all owe your brother tens of billions. Fang Ping's voice was extremely soft. Most people did not hear it, but some powerful grandmasters heard it clearly. Their faces stiffened. IOUs, you're going to collect money? Fang Yuan's mouth was wide open. She really did not know about this. She only saw her brother holding a pen and paper to look for people. At this moment, Fang Yuan looked around and memorized the names of the 30 grandmasters who had just bought a divine weapon. My brother is a super landlord now. So many people owe money. One person owes tens of billions. That was not all. In the next moment, Fang Ping deployed a mentality barrier. He lowered his voice and looked at Zhang Tao. He smiled slowly, but said in a low voice, "That Minister Zhang owes your brother money. It's not just tens of billions, it's hundreds of billions. But he's too powerful. Your brother is too embarrassed to ask for it. When you meet his grandchildren in the future, you can mention it." Fang Yuan was stunned again. At the same time, Zhang Tao, who had just praised Fang Ping as a blessing, shifted his expression and glanced at Fang Ping in an unfriendly manner. "You want to stop me with that mentality barrier? And hundreds of billions? Come and collect the debt from me if you can. If you can, I'll admit that you're good." Fang Ping ignored Zhang Tao's unfriendly gaze. It was not like he did not know that old Zhang liked to eavesdrop. He was just saying it for Zhang Tao to hear. At this moment, Fang Ping ignored him. He walked up to Old Wang and Iron Head and said, "Both of you will donate 4 swords each. Sell the remaining 6 swords. The IOUs will belong to me. Both of you will get 60 billion worth of resources each. The remaining 100 billion will belong to me. Although it's a little different from the price on paper, I don't think we can get the money back. Do you have any objections?" Ironhead and Old Wang shook their heads. Of course, they had no objections. Fang Ping was a loyal friend. Both of them were beaming with joy. They were going to be rich. As for old Yao, who cared about him? Who asked that fellow to donate all the divine weapons in the beginning? Yao Qingjun did not care about this, but Qin Fengqing, who was not far away, pricked his ears. 60 billion. 60 billion each. At this moment, Qin Fengqing could only hear this number. F*CK. How hateful. He did not bring him along the last time. He did not bring him along with such an opportunity to make a fortune. Qin Fengqing's heart was in so much pain that it was about to explode. In the next moment, Qin Fengqing turned his grief and anger into appetite. He started eating and drinking like a madman. This time, he swore that he would not leave until he finished everything in the field. He would eat even if he was stuffed to death. As for Fang Ping, he had already walked up to Wu Quishan. He chuckled and said, "Vice-Chancellor, give me an IOU of 100 billion. I've already lent the resources to the school. I won't take them back." Wu Quishan seemed to have expected this. An IOU appeared in his hand, stamped with the official seal. He filled in the numbers and signed his name. Then he went to get Zhang Tao to sign his name. The big boss of the Department of Education wanted his signature. Therefore, after a while, Fang Ping received another 100 billion IOU. At this time, Fang Ping was too lazy to mention the school's bankruptcy. With MCMAU's current situation, all the grandmasters were bankrupt, most of the students were in debt, and a small portion of the instructors had IOUs with him. This was not a normal school. He was their biggest and only creditor. MCMAU could even change its name now. Fong Ping Martial Arts University, Fangwu for short. Not only MCMAU, but also the vice-chancellors of a few martial arts universities who had bought the divine weapons. Perhaps these martial arts universities had also gone bankrupt. Of course, the probability of 10 billion going bankrupt was not too high. After laughing foolishly for a while, Fong Ping announced in a loud voice, "The banquet is a complete success. The Grandmaster banquet this time was a complete success." As for himself, he had donated 12 divine weapons and sold 18. It was not a big deal. Although these divine weapons could only be exchanged for IOUs, Fong Ping really did not care. Even if he gave them to himself, he would not be able to use them. Now, in exchange for resources, in exchange for favors, in exchange for debts, in exchange for people praising Fong Ping, in exchange for exclusive combat techniques, it was worth it. The most important thing was, after throwing away the items, a lot of trouble would actually be gone. If it was not for the heat, Fong Ping's previous massacre would have been spread out, and he might have been criticized. What about now? Everyone had gotten their share of the benefits. No one would say anything, right? As for him, he still had 30 rank 7 divine weapons and 2 rank 8 divine weapons. Fong Ping did not plan to keep these things. He would send some rank 7s to the school later. All the rank 6 powerhouses would get 1 each. The IOUs continued. A bunch of reserve duty grandmasters had gone bankrupt before they reached grandmaster level. As for the rank 8 divine weapons, he would wait and see. Fong Ping did not care too much about things that had increased his wealth. "I'm such a good person." At this moment, Fong Ping was really touched by himself. As for those who had bought the divine weapons, without exception, they were all praising Fong Ping. Leadership style. Sino Nation's blessing. Mankind's blessing. After listening to the end, Fong Ping himself felt a little emotional. If the heavens did not give birth to him, where would mankind go? As expected, he came to this era to be a savior. As for whether these people would regret what they said today, when he found someone to collect debts in the future, that had nothing to do with Fong Ping. Chapter 608. The Grandmaster Banquet was a complete success, and both the guests and the host enjoyed themselves. The Grandmasters brought their people away one after another. Fong Ping, a junior, was also very courteous. He sent them all the way to the school gate and bid farewell to the Grandmasters reluctantly. For those Grandmasters who did not manage to buy a divine weapon, Fong Ping also promised repeatedly that the next time he had a divine weapon, he would personally deliver it to the Grandmasters. Without exception, all the Grandmasters present were extremely satisfied with Fong Ping. When it came to teaching juniors, they would always use Fong Ping as an example, a role model. Look, what is a youth leader? This was it. Fong Ping was still seeing them off at the entrance. MCMAU's reception hall. Zhang Tao, Nan Yunyue, Li Daong, Tianmu, Wu Chuan, and a group of MCMAU grandmasters took their seats and started chatting. At this moment, everyone's topic was Fong Ping. Although everyone was far away from the school gate, in their eyes, everything that happened at the school gate seemed to be right in front of them. After listening for a while, Zhang Tao chuckled. "I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse for MCMAU. The scourge is on others, but the profit is MCMAU." Wu Quishan laughed too. In front of Fong Ping, he wished he could slap him to death, but in front of others, he still praised him. Ever since Fong Ping entered MCMAU, he had brought about earth-shattering changes to MCMAU's martial arts society in his sophomore year, not to mention his freshman year. He could achieve rank 9. Old Man Li could be comparable to a rank 9 Lu Fengru's breakthrough. All these things, without exception, had a lot to do with Fong Ping. Without Fong Ping, MCMAU would not have come this far. Everyone burst into laughter upon hearing Wu Quishan's words. After laughing for a while, Zhang Tao's expression turned serious. He asked in a deep voice, "Kuei Shan, do you really want to fight this battle?" Wu Quishan fell silent. Beside him, Old Manly said, "If you want to fight, we don't have to be afraid to speak our minds. We won't let the master of Skygate City leave." Old Man Li's eyes were cold and harsh. All these years, he has killed too many people from MCMAU. Let's not talk about the grudge between us in school. Old Wu Mi and Fengru, who doesn't have a grudge against him? Master died at the hands of the people of Tianmen City. Master treated me like his own son. If I don't take revenge, I'm not human. Old Huang, Wu Chuan, and I are all teachers' students. A master for a day is a father for life. How could he not avenge his master? Even if the government doesn't agree to let the entire MCMU fight, I will still do it. I must take this opportunity to kill him now. Once he leaves the outer realm, can we still go to the Forbidden Land to take revenge? Lu Fengru said lightly, "I've been waiting for this day for 11 years. After the few of them finished speaking, Wu Quishan said softly, "I've also waited for too long. Minister, I know this matter is very troublesome and might affect the overall situation. Allow me to be selfish. For once 11 years ago, I made a huge mistake. My daughter died. Not only my daughter." Wu Quishan's eyes dimmed slightly. He said softly, "And those old brothers, because of my pride, because of my carelessness, they all died. My fellow disciples, my students, are all dead. 11 years ago, his daughter was not the only one who died." Fong Ping did not notice that Wu Quishan did not seem to have a single student. Back then, Wu Quishan was already a rank 7 martial artist. He had served in the university for many years. How could he really not accept a single student? But that year, all of his students died in the catacombs. All of them. That year, he discovered a small mineral vein. There was only one rank 7 monster beast guarding it. Wu Quishan thought that he was strong enough to defeat that rank 7 monster beast. He brought along his students, daughter, and a group of old brothers prepared to seize the mineral vein and help them advance further. At that time, Lu Fengru was in closed-door cultivation. Otherwise, he was prepared to bring Lu Fengru along. The high-spirited Wu Quishan had just turned 50 that year. He had already been a grandmaster for a few years. The old vice-chancellor had already repeatedly said that he would take over the position of vice-chancellor. How perfect his life was. However, the blow that time almost broke him down. Lu Fengru was in pain, but he was in more pain than her. That group of old brothers, old friends, students, daughter, almost all of them were wiped out. Even those who survived, like Li Changsheng, were spiritually injured. The prodigy of a generation had been dormant for as long as 10 years. All these years, he rarely stayed in the university. Only in the recent year did he spend more time in the university. In the past, he was almost always outside, in the catacombs. He just did not want to face all of this. He did not want to see some places. Right now, the rank 9 Wu Quishan's emotions were fluctuating wildly. Yes, according to the government's arrangements and the government's plans, the Skygate City Lord should be allowed to leave. It was a good thing that a catacombs rank 9, who had always been pro-war, was leaving now. Even in the Monster Plant clan, the Skygate City Lord was the pro-war type. In other catacombs, there were not many high-rank battles. In the Magic City catacombs, however, high-rank battles happened every few days. MCMU's old vice-chancellor, a rank 8 powerhouse, was beaten until his golden body was about to collapse. It was clear that he had participated in many battles and consumed a lot of energy. It was a good thing that such a staunch pro-war faction was leaving now. After this, the Magic City catacombs might be peaceful for a few years. Even if a rank 9 powerhouse came to take over as the city lord, they still had to settle down the people in Skygate City. There would be no more battles in the short term. However, many times, even if the overall situation was important, martial artists were still humans. Humans had 7 emotions and 6 desires. How could these MCMAU grandmasters be willing to let their enemy, who had a deep hatred for them, leave? How could those MCMAU seniors be willing to let go? Perhaps the current batch of students did not have much hatred for Skygate City, but they did. Blood feud. Just as everyone was silent, Fong Ping, who had sent them off, stepped through the door. As soon as he entered, Fong Ping smiled and said, "Minister, a fight is a good thing. It's not entirely because of a personal grudge. If it was really because of a personal grudge, then I wouldn't have suggested for the whole school to fight. If the instructors want to take revenge, then we can do it ourselves. Why do we need to drag our families into battle?" The reason why I suggested a fight now is also related to some problems in MCMAU. The current MCMAU has a problem, a very big problem, and I know it very well. Since last year, MCMAU has developed very quickly. Our strength has increased a lot, but there are also serious problems. We keep talking about how big the threat of the catacombs is, how dangerous the catacombs are, but in reality, other than a few people who still insist on going to the catacombs, the rest of the students, I'm afraid they might not take the catacombs seriously anymore. In their eyes, what is the catacombs? The catacombs is a land of treasures. It's a land of treasures that we can run freely. Bloodshed, sacrifice. Those are all legends. But are they legends? Not only has the situation not improved, but it has also become more and more intense. Martial arts university students are not soldiers, but martial artists are all warriors. Now, it's time for a fight. Let these arrogant fellows understand what the catacombs are and what martial artists are. Why do they practice martial arts? The school has opened up the supply of resources, but where do these resources come from? Every energy stone is stained with the blood of martial artists. They use the resources exchanged with the blood of their ancestors. In these 2 years, although I've obtained some things, to put it bluntly, I, Fong Ping, have also experienced many big and small battles. In the midst of fighting, I've been seriously injured and on the verge of death more than once or twice. I can provide resources to the weak, but I can't tolerate their erroneous and biased thinking. My things don't come out of thin air. They can't be picked up in the catacombs. If this goes on, I'm worried that MCMAU will raise a group of ingrates. That goes against my original intentions and against the original intentions of mankind. Martial artists must fight. Martial artists must fight. Fong Ping gave a long speech. When he was done, he walked to the center of the hall, looked around, and said with a smile, "Instructors, you don't have to think that this is a fight for personal revenge. You don't have to think that you've implicated anyone. These things don't exist. From the first day you enter a martial arts university, everyone must be prepared to fight the catacombs. Not to mention that MCMAU is strong now, not weaker than Skygate City. Even if we were really weak, 10 times weaker, we still have to fight. We've prepared everything we can and given everything we can. If we don't fight now, are we really going to nurture ourselves until rank 6, rank 7? Nan Yunue glanced at him and said lightly, "Do you know how strong Skygate City is now?" Fong Ping nodded and said, 2 rank 9s, 1 rank 8 golden body, and 3 rank 7s. Of course, I know that if we really start a war based on the catacombs' nature, they might send more reinforcements. When the catacombs fight with us, It's always been because they have more people than us, and we can't outnumber them. Today, on MCMAU's side, the Vice Chancellor is rank 9, Instructor Lee is rank 8, and including me, there are 5 rank 7s. If we start a war, I'm afraid the other cities will send at least 3 to 5 rank 7 martial artists. Since you know that, where does your confidence come from? Fang Ping smiled and said, if that's all, then I have this confidence. Leave the rank 7s to me. As for the rank 8s, a few instructors will surround and kill them. As for the rank 9s, the Vice Chancellor and Instructor Li will fight. How arrogant, Zhang Tao said lightly. If they really send 3 to 5 rank 7s as reinforcements, that's 6 to 8 people. When that time comes, they won't fight you alone. Are you sure you can kill the enemy? How can there be a 100% chance of winning? If we can fight, then let's fight. Fang Ping replied. In the current situation, for us, we've already prepared to the limit. Otherwise, if we wait any longer, when we become stronger, the opponents we face will also become stronger. Even if MCMAU has sent out 10 rank 9s, if we really start a war, the opponent will be 20 rank 9s. Since we're always at a disadvantage, then we'll try our best to minimize the disadvantage. What about the reinforcements from other cities? What if the desperate ones attack? Zhang Tao said lightly, have you thought about it? Fang Ping nodded and chuckled. I'll definitely think about it, Minister. I'm counting on you for this. Zhang Tao did not utter a word. Nan Yunhua laughed. Tian Mu mumbled, we're already prepared. Why are you still playing dumb? Just say it. Zhang Tao glared at him. So what if he was a rank 9? This bastard. If he dared to provoke him again, he would slap him to death. Tian Mu did not look at him. He stared straight ahead, as if he had not said what he just said. Zhang Tao was still easy to talk to. However, no matter how easy he was to talk to, he was afraid if he really flipped out. He was already an adult. If he was really beaten up by Zhang Tao in front of the younger generation, how embarrassing would that be? Zhang Tao ignored him. He glanced at the others, pondered for a moment, and said, according to the military department's information, currently the number of high-ranked powerhouses in Skygate City is indeed, as you said. However, Skygate City still is close to 100,000 troops. Among them, there are tens of thousands of martial artists. There are also thousands of middle-ranked martial artists. These martial artists are not newbies. They have been fighting with Hope City for many years. They are all battle-hardened troops. The seniors in MCMAU had experienced it before. They knew that these people were not weak. If the army fought with MCMAU's current situation, a large number of people would die or be injured. It's not that the military department cannot make a move. However, if you want to fight Skygate City alone, then the military department must defend against Monster Sunflower City's troops. Therefore, the military department cannot provide any more help to prevent Monster Sunflower City from making a move. Monster Phoenix City also needs a group of martial artists stationed there. These two cities are the closest cities to Skygate City. This is already the limit. The government cannot afford to expand the army. It's the same for other catacombs. They are short on manpower and unable to mobilize. The Wuhan military is currently cleaning up some enemies in the Forbidden Catacombs. They can't be mobilized either. Wu Quishan had also regained his composure. He said, Minister, will Jueshi make a move? No. Magic City's catacombs is the Green Wolf King's territory. However, Skygate City belongs to the Monster Plant Clan, and the situation in Skygate City is slightly complicated. Originally, Skygate City belonged to another force under the command of the Monster Plant Clan's true king. In the end, Skygate City's lord switched sides later and let his descendants worship King Huai. Therefore, Strictly speaking, Skygate City belongs to King Huai. However, Skygate City's lord switched sides to King Huai, which made the Monster Plant Clan's true king very unhappy. As for the Green Wolf King, the Monster Life Clan's true king, Monster Life Clan has not decided whether to participate in the war yet, and they will not interfere with your affairs at this time. I have already made an agreement with King Huai. King Huai will not make a move in Magic City's catacombs. Skygate City and MCMAU can fight fairly. However, relatively fair doesn't mean that there will be no unforeseen events. King Huai only promised the rank 9s of other cities that he will not make a move. However, at a critical moment, the reinforcements of rank 7 and 8 martial artists may be more than you think. Of course, this still depends on whether Skygate City's lord can get reinforcements. At this point, Zhang Tao looked at everyone again and said, "In short, if the war really breaks out, you will not have reinforcements. Skygate City may not. You have no reinforcements because we can't spare so many people. Even if we can, we can't. We can't let another catacomb war break out because of MCMAU's war. Making an agreement with King Huai that the rank 9s will not interfere is already the limit of what I can do." Zhang Tao sighed softly. He had met King Huai before. Because he did not get the Origin Chi last time, King Huai was indeed full of desire for the heaven-suppressing king's Origin Chi. However, to ensure that he could win, although King Huai used Skygate City as the wager, he also added a lot of restrictions. His goal was the Origin Chi, not to send his subordinates to their deaths. If he could exchange his death for the Origin Chi, he was willing. However, if he could not exchange his death for it, then it would be a huge loss. He had already suffered a huge loss last time. This time, King Huai would not do it again. As he said that, Zhang Tao added, "Rank 9, only Wu Quishan can make a move. Rank 8, you can invite another golden body to help you. As long as there are less than 10 rank 7s, then there won't be a problem. These are not proposed by me, but by King Huai. Skygate City's strength is not that great. Since he dared to propose these, it means that Skygate City will definitely have reinforcements later. I'll explain everything clearly to you. Whether you want to fight or not, it's up to you. Also, if you really want to fight, you can't be in Hope City." As soon as he said this, Fang Ping's expression changed. Zhang Tao sighed softly. Hope City is Sino's only stronghold in Magic City. Hope City's most important mission is to guard the passageway, not to kill the enemy. If you fight, once Hope City is breached, then Sino's decades of operation in Magic City's catacombs will be ruined. Therefore, you must find another base. In other words, you will lose Hope City's defense. Of course, if someone is really injured, they can return to Hope City. However, if they are stationed in the wild, the danger will be even greater. Beside him, Li Daong continued, "The military department will help you keep an eye on Monster Sunflower City and Monster Phoenix City's army. The big army will not let them attack, but I'm afraid we can't control individual martial artists. Of course, the military department will send a small army to help you and guide you on how to carry out army operations. As for the rest, the military department can't do anything. To fight or not to fight, it's up to you." Zhang Tao sighed again. If MCMAU insisted, then after this battle, there might be a big problem. It was not impossible for MCMAU to be completely wiped out. Fang Ping glanced at Wu Quishan and the others, saying slowly, "Vice-Chancellor, instructors, we high-ranked martial artists will vote first. If more than half of us agree to fight, then we will ask for the opinions of the instructors and students. If more than half of the instructors and students disagree, then we won't carry out a large-scale battle. We will attack and kill them." At this point, Fang Ping looked at Zhang Tao and asked, "Minister, if we attack and kill the Sky Gate city martial artists? Will this be a problem? Zhang Tao replied, "This is up to you. However, this kind of endless killing may be more dangerous. For you, it's more dangerous. Previously, Tianmu was almost killed. If not for his tough life, he would have died in the catacombs. Beside him, Tianmu did not care about this, but he still reminded, 'You must be careful. The Sky Gate City Lord's ability is stronger than expected. He has a rank 9 divine weapon. Quishin may not be his match. As for the Sky Gate tree, its combat strength is also very strong. The key is that with the cooperation of Sky Gate City and the Sky Gate City Lord, its ability is even stronger. Therefore, if we really fight, we must separate the man and the tree.'" Fang Ping responded. Then he looked at Wu Quishin and the others and asked, "What do the instructors think?" "I agree." "Agree. Agree." The few high-ranked powerhouses, except for Lu Polu, who was not there, all chose to agree without exception. They had waited for this day for too long. Then we'll gather all the instructors for a meeting later. If the instructors pass, then we'll gather the students for a meeting. This was a matter of life and death. Although Fang Ping and the others were MCMAU's core and pillars, they were not of one mind. If they rashly launched an all-out war, it would be very easy for something to happen. At this point, the matter had more or less come to an end. This time, even if the instructors and students did not agree, these high-rank powerhouses would still launch a high-level war. At this time, Zhang Tao coughed softly and said, "It's very difficult to fulfill this promise with King Huai." Fang Ping began to roll his eyes. "Old Zhang, good job." At this time, he did not forget to fleece the sheep. Although he was cursing in his heart, Fang Ping still laughed and said, "Minister, if we really destroy Sky Gate City this time, then we'll have one less enemy for humanity." Zhang Tao chuckled softly and said, "If you really win and destroy Sky Gate City." Zhang Tao paused and suddenly said, "I heard that a long time ago when you were seizing power, you said that you wanted to establish a base in the catacombs." As soon as these words came out, Wu Quishin and the others coughed. How could his words be so unpleasant? What was seizing power? We were delegating power. Delegating power. Do you understand? We focused on cultivation and took the initiative to let a junior like Fang Ping do the work. Fang Ping was just a coolie. You know how to speak. What absolute peak. Did you not know that by saying this, you've offended me, Wu Quishin? Zhang Tao did not care about them. He laughed and said, "If you really win, and it's the kind of victory that kills all of their high ranks, then Sky Gate City will be MCMAU's base in the catacombs. This is the first time since humans entered the catacombs. The premise is that you can defend Sky Gate City. Also, if the underground mineral vein is destroyed, then forget it. If it's not destroyed, MCMAU can get 30%. The government will take the rest." Seeing that Fang Ping was about to speak, Zhang Tao said solemnly, "The mineral vein is all there. You can't defend it. The other cities in the catacombs will definitely attack you. Also, don't think that the government is scheming to take away your benefits. You think that the government is not doing anything, but in reality, you should know very well. How dangerous is it this time? If Monster Sunflower City and Monster Phoenix City send their troops, then tens of thousands of military department martial artists in Magic City's catacombs might be in danger. To create a relatively fair environment for all of you, that's doing something, and it's harder than you think." Beside him, Tianmu did not oppose Zhang Tao this time. Instead, he said something fair. "If you win, 30% of the mineral vein is actually yours for free. In the past, this would not have happened. I think you know that even if you win the war, the possibility of you taking away the mineral vein is not high." Minister Zhang still did something this time. Zhang Tao was slightly relieved. Tianmu, The troublemaker had finally said something fair. Unexpectedly, Tianmu's tone changed, and he said indifferently, "Before the war ends, if you have extra energy, just send people to dig. However much you dig, it's your own harvest from the war. The harvest from the war is not included in the distribution later. If you're really confident, you can dig away half and leave the other half for the distribution. It's the same." Zhang Tao's palm moved. At this moment, he really wanted to slap this old thing to death. Fang Ping coughed lightly. What Senior Tian said seemed to make sense. In fact, this was also beyond his expectations. Last time, they almost wiped out Tian'an catacombs, but humans did not get a giant mine. Now, Zhang Tao meant that if they won, they could take away Sky Gate City's giant mine. Thinking of this, Fang Ping asked curiously, "Minister, is that King Huai so easy to talk to?" Zhang Tao smiled faintly. "That depends on who it is. Even in the catacombs, my reputation as a martial king still has some deterrence." Beside him, Nan Yunhua sneered and did not say much. Martial king, the reputation of a martial king did indeed have some deterrence. However, Zhang Tao and King Huai were enemies. They did not care if you were a martial king or not. She did not know what Zhang Tao had sacrificed, but Nan Yunhua knew that the value should be more than the giant mine. Otherwise, why would King Huai agree to him? As for Zhang Tao, what good thing did he have that could move the paragon, and whose value surpassed the giant mine in the paragon's eyes? Even if Nan Yunhua did not know the specifics, she had a guess. Zhang Tao, this old thing, had the cheek to brag. Chapter 609. After the discussion, Fang Ping thought for a while. A few bottles appeared in his hand out of nowhere. No one present was surprised. Everyone knew that Fang Ping had storage equipment. Of course, Nan Yunhua and the others thought that it was given by Zhang Tao. It was a surprise that a poor guy like Zhang Tao would give Fang Ping storage equipment. If it were not for Zhugo's fame, people might have suspected that Fang Ping was someone's illegitimate child. Even Zhang Tao's interest was piqued when he saw Fang Ping taking out some medicine bottles and the style of the bottles. Ancient pills. Zhang Tao reached out and sucked the bottle from Fang Ping's hand. Zhang Tao did not open the bottle, but patted it a few times. Beside him, Nan Yunhua looked at Fang Ping and explained, "Next time when you get these ancient pills, don't open them directly. Yours was probably taken out of storage equipment, so it's still in good condition. Without storage equipment, it's usually an empty bottle. The medicinal effect has already evaporated. Although it's still in good condition, it's been a long time. If you open it rashly, the ancient pills will evaporate immediately." Fang Ping nodded. He had considered this too, so he did not open the bottle. Now that Zhang Tao said this, Fang Ping understood. He said, "Next time when I get these things, I should solidify them with mentality first." "Yes," Zhang Tao answered casually. He then opened one of the bottles and poured out a golden pill. He smelled it and looked like he was going to lick it. Fang Ping saw this and coughed immediately. Zhang Tao laughed and did not continue. He pinched the golden pill and judged it for a while. He said, "This is a golden body pill, a type of pill used to strengthen the body. It's effective for rank 8 and 9 martial artists. Did you get it from the Imperial Battleground?" "Yes, the pills from the Imperial Battleground are more advanced. Low-level pills are rare because those who participated were all powerhouses. It's good stuff. The golden body pill can be taken during normal times and during battles. It has the effect of solidifying the body. Li Changsheng can use it. It's good for him," Zhang Tao said, and added, "It's more effective for rank 7 martial artists. Rank 7 martial artists don't have strong bodies, so they're easy targets. Taking more of it will help hone the skull. When Fong Ping heard this, his eyes lit up. He said immediately, "Director, if the skull honing is effective, then if Vice Chancellor Liu takes this bottle, will he be able to finish honing his skull?" Lu Po Lu had actually reached peak rank 7 a long time ago. However, the speed at which he honed his skull was very slow. Last time, he was injured again, and his skull was shattered. Although Fong Ping had given him a lot of life essence later on and healed his injuries, Lu Po Lu had only honed a few pieces of his skull until now. Of the 29 skulls, Lu Po Lu had tempered less than 10 of them over the years. Zhang Tao smiled when he heard that and said, "This isn't specifically used to temper the skull. It can only be said to be of some help. There are 8 golden body pills in this bottle. If Lu Po Lu consumes them, he'll probably only be able to refine 2 or 3 skulls." When Fong Ping heard this, he felt a pang of regret. If Lu Po Lu could achieve rank 8, then MCMAU would have a rank 8 in the truest sense of the word. As for old man Li, God knew what rank he was. Zhang Tao didn't say anything more and looked at the second bottle of pills. Very quickly, he said, "The spirit recovery pill. I guessed it was this as well." When martial artists reach a high rank, they bring these pills when they go to battle. The spirit recovery pill, as the name suggests, is used to restore mentality. This is good stuff, even rarer than the golden body pill. The golden body pill can actually be produced now, but it's not cost-effective. Many of the materials are precious, and we rarely use them to produce the golden body pill. The spirit recovery pill, on the other hand, lacks some main materials, so we can't produce it. We can only obtain it from some ancient ruins. You have to use it sparingly, don't waste it. Can it increase mentality? Zhang Tao laughed. It can, but it's not necessary. This is a restorative pill. Most rank 8 and 9 martial artists can use it to recover. This kind of pill is extremely rare. If we really use it as a pill to increase mentality, it'll only have a little effect on rank 7 martial artists. It's not cost-effective. If you're willing, I can use Heavenly Golden Lotus or Dark Moon Grass to exchange for it. Fong Ping had used both of them before. They were definitely good stuff. Heavenly Golden Lotus cost 20 billion for 1 petal, not 1. Dark Moon Grass cost 5 billion for 1 stalk. Dark Moon Grass was mainly used to increase mentality for rank 7 and below martial artists. Heavenly Golden Lotus, on the other hand, could be used up to rank 8. Fong Ping's face lit up. How do I exchange for it? How many Heavenly Golden Lotuses can I exchange for 1 pill? 1 to 1. 1 petal. Fong Ping probed. Zhang Tao smiled faintly, not saying a word. The people beside him burst out laughing. Fong Ping was dreaming. 1 Heavenly Golden Lotus had a total of 8 petals, 160 billion. It was priceless. The value of 1 Heavenly Golden Lotus was actually equivalent to that of a rank 9 divine weapon. It was obvious how rare this thing was. It was produced in the Forbidden Ocean, so it was really rare. Fong Ping had used 1 petal of Heavenly Golden Lotus when he was rank 6. That was a waste. However, at that time, he had to break through the last hurdle in order to materialize it. It was not a loss. Fong Ping understood. He could only exchange for 1 petal. However, Fong Ping was also a little excited. This thing was actually so valuable. 1 petal of Heavenly Golden Lotus was worth 20 billion. 1 pill was worth so much. Fong Ping remembered that when he probed earlier, there seemed to be about 7 or 8 pills in it. This was too valuable. A bottle of pills was worth more than a rank 9 divine weapon. At the thought of this, Fong Ping asked hurriedly, "Minister, what about the golden body pill?" If you're willing one golden body pill in exchange for one divine fruit, Fong Ping's face darkened instantly. The difference was too big. One divine fruit was only 500 million, okay? 20 billion for one, 500 million for one. All right, things related to mentality were really priceless. The golden body pill increased the strength of the body, so its value was greatly reduced. For modern martial artists, the strength of the body was not the shackles of the realm. Mentality was. No wonder the difference was so big. Zhang Tao continued to examine the pills. He continued to introduce, "This is a clarity pill. It's also good stuff." Peak rank, 8 martial artists, or early stage rank, 9 martial artists who have yet to understand their own path can use it. It'll be easier to understand their own origin path. This is not bad. The ancient martial artist you met might not have understood his own origin path yet. This kind of pill is quite precious. Among ancient martial artists, very few people have this kind of pill. 3 of them. One pill is probably worth 2 vitality recovery pills. Fong Ping had obtained a total of 6 bottles of pills. Zhang Tao knew all of them. He was experienced and knowledgeable. The first 3 were quite precious. The last 3 were average. They were all healing pills to heal physical injuries. Their value was average. Even so, a bottle of 8 golden body pills was worth 40 billion. A bottle of 7 vitality recovery pills was worth 140 billion. A bottle of 3 vitality recovery pills was worth 120 billion. The other 3 bottles of pills, even if they were not precious, added together, they were worth more than 10 billion. Based on this calculation, the value of these few bottles of pills alone was more than 300 billion. Fong Ping was a little dazed. Ancient pills were too valuable. As if he knew what Fong Ping was thinking, Zhang Tao laughed. The pills of ancient martial artists are now lost. Pills that were not precious to them in the past are extremely valuable now. Back then, ancient martial artists might have dominated the catacombs. They could plunder the precious materials in the catacombs. Now they can't. They can't. Different times lead to different values of many things. For example, the bone honing pill. We modern martial artists developed pills that ancient martial artists probably don't have. The bone honing pill that seems cheap to us now might be worth 10 times or even 100 times in the era of ancient martial artists. These pills that you obtained are worth 300 billion now. In that era, it might not even be enough to exchange for a rank 9 divine weapon. Fong Ping nodded. He understood this logic. However, Fong Ping was still overjoyed. He thought for a while and said, "We need to use the golden body pills and vitality recovery pills. Mind clarity pills. Minister, can I exchange 3 pills for a heavenly golden lotus?" Zhang Tao shook his head. 5 petals. That's the limit. Actually, we don't have many heavenly golden lotuses. They were obtained by heavenly King Zhen in the Forbidden Sea. Later, Commander Li took them out and sealed them until now. It wasn't easy to give you one last time. The Mind Clarity Pill can help peak rank 8 or early stage rank 9 martial artists understand their path. It's very precious, but it's just average. 5 petals. 5 petals at most can help a rank 7 martial artist advance from early stage to middle stage. This can help rank 8 martial artists advance to rank 9. One is a supplementary pill, while the other can definitely advance. They're not the same. Fong Ping sighed. He nodded. I'll exchange it then. He had no use for this at the moment. No one else had any use for it, although Wu Quishan was also early stage rank 9. He had already embarked on his own path. Fong Ping did not ask. He just knew. There was no other reason. When old Wu heard about the effects of the mind clarity pill, he did not even glance at it. Zhang Tao did not say that this was suitable for old Wu either. Fang Ping knew what he meant when he heard it. Zhang Tao chuckled and accepted the mind clarity pill. In the next moment, 5 golden lotus petals appeared before Fang Ping's eyes. Fang Ping was stunned. Old Zhang actually carried it with him. Zhang Tao saw that he was in a daze. He smiled faintly. The government's precious materials. Li Jun and I will each keep half of them. As soon as he said that, Fang Ping understood. Was there anyone who could snatch these things from the hands of the paragons? Unless they killed these 2 paragons, they could forget about it. In this world, there was probably no safer storage spot than the paragons' powerhouses. If that was the case, there might be a lot of good stuff in old Zhang's storage ring. Fang Ping's peripheral vision swept over Zhang Tao again and again. If he were to rob Zhang Tao one day, old Zhang might not be rich himself, but he had half of the government's precious resources in reserve. Needless to say, it was an astronomical figure. Zhang Tao did not say anything. He just looked at Fang Ping with a smile. Nan Yunyue and the others did not know whether to laugh or cry. Fang Ping's shifty eyes were fixed on Zhang Tao. Could it be that this kid had some ulterior motives? Fang Ping coughed softly. Without another word, he took the 5-petal heavenly golden lotus. He glanced at everyone. After a while, he looked at old Huang and smiled. Vice-Chancellor Huang, I don't want much. Give me a 100 billion, I owe you. The moment he got the heavenly golden lotus, his wealth increased by 10 million points. As expected, ancient pills could not be valued directly. He needed something to evaluate its value. Huang Jing felt gratified and bitter at the same time. He waved his hand and said, "Keep this for yourself. If you consume it, you should be able to improve a lot. I won't waste this. My mentality has just entered middle stage, rank 7. You're almost at upper stage, rank 7. If you consume the heavenly golden lotus, you should be able to reach upper stage, rank 7. Then, if you hone your skull, you can quickly enter peak rank 7. This is the most cost-effective option." As he said that, Fang Ping looked at Lu Fengru and laughed dryly. Instructor, that, although Lu Fengru was a little jealous, she knew what Fang Ping meant. She said impatiently, "Lend it to whoever you want, but be careful. Huang Jing is a pauper. He probably won't be able to pay you back in this lifetime." Huang Jing smiled bitterly. After a while, he gritted his teeth and said, "Originally, I can't take this thing, and I shouldn't take it. But the war is imminent. If I can reach 3,000 hertz mentality and hone a piece of my skull, my strength will increase a lot. Fang Ping, I won't say anything else. If you want to be the vice-chancellor, I'll support you." Cough, cough, cough. Beside him, Wu Quishan almost coughed to death. "Damn. Is it appropriate to say this in front of me? Enough. What kind of day is this?" He was so frustrated that he was about to vomit blood. However, Fang Ping had given the heavenly golden lotus to Huang Jing. Wu Quishan was filled with emotion. Did he not see how Zhang Tao valued this kind of treasure? Fang Ping gave it to them just like that. He even called it an IOU. Could he really expect these paupers to pay back their debts? This would also be a great help to his own strength improvement. But Fang Ping still gave it to them. There was no other reason. It was because giving it to Huang Jing would be the most effective. MCMU might soon have a second peak rank, 7 martial artist. This was something that only martial artists who could see the big picture would do. Fang Ping could use it himself. If he gave it to Lu Fengru, she might reach middle stage rank 7. He could also give it to others. In short, Huang Jing and Fang Ping's relationship was not that close. It was not just Huang Jing. He was the same. No one said anything. Fong Ping also gave the heavenly golden lotus to Old Huang and wrote an IOU. He was satisfied. MCMAU's grandmasters had all fallen. If Old Huang did not owe him anything, he would give him 100 billion. Fong Ping did not want to say anything. In the hall, Tianmu and the others watched with envy. Tianmu sighed softly. If I had a great-grandson like this. Fong Ping's expression was unfriendly. He hummed and said, I still have a rank 8 halberd and a rank 8 longsword. Initially, I thought that an old man was my senior. Now that he has broken through to rank 9, he doesn't even have a rank 7 divine weapon. It's quite pitiful. In the end, this old man has been an unwelcome guest since this morning. Forget it. I'll keep it for myself. The next moment, Tianmu stretched out his huge hand and grabbed Fong Ping. His eyes were bright. He rubbed Fong Ping's head hard and laughed. Good boy. Lend me an IOU, right? You can name the number. Lend me both rank 8. Minister Zhang is here. No, I'll go back and look for Commander Li. Let him think of a way to integrate a rank 9 divine weapon. Kid, if your senior Tian has a rank 9 divine weapon, he can beat Wu Quishan. If he doesn't become your vice-chancellor, I'll hammer him to death. Ha ha ha. Tianmu laughed maniacally. His laughter spread throughout MCMAU. At this moment, Tianmu was really excited and agitated. 2 rank 8 divine weapons might not be able to integrate into a rank 9 divine weapon. However, if he added some materials and let Paragon do it, the chances were still very high. If a rank 9 powerhouse had a rank 9 divine weapon in hand, his combat strength would definitely increase tremendously. He was a powerhouse who used fists. During the integration, he could also modify them into boxing gloves that were suitable for him. Then, his strength would be even stronger. At this moment, even Wu Chuan could not help but curse. Kid, we met first, didn't we? You should have said so earlier. You should have said that I wouldn't trade for that sword. No, that sword was also yours. You even sold it to someone else. You didn't even say you were going to lend it to me. I've lost everything. Do you know that? I'll have to kill a rank 9 monster beast to repay my debt in the future. Do you know that? You don't need to be MCMU's vice-chancellor. Come to the House of Guardians. I'll let you take over as the guardian. I'll be your assistant. Wu Chuan. Zhang Tao could not hold it in anymore. He scolded him. You bootlickers, that's enough. You even have to give the guardian. Have some face. However, Zhang Tao also felt like he was going crazy. He even felt a little aggrieved. He said in a muffled voice, You still have 2 rank 8 divine weapons. F***CKU. You didn't say. If you did, Thinking of this, Zhang Tao suddenly said, Right, this time I made a bet with King Huai. I paid a huge price, Fong Ping said with a blank expression. Didn't you make the bet based on your reputation? Old Zhang had just been arrogant, saying that he, a martial king, had a reputation. King Huai did not dare to disagree. Was he changing his mind now? Zhang Tao did not say a word. His eyes were sharp. Kid, I'm already shameless. Are you going to give it to me or not? If you don't, I'll rob you. The most important thing was that this kid had really earned like crazy during this trip to the Martial King battleground. Countless divine weapons, ancient pills, and a storage jade pendant. Was this kid the god of fortune? Was there money everywhere? He went. Fong Ping did not look at old Zhang. He was still being held by Tianmu. Seeing Tianmu's face full of anticipation and desire, even to the point of wanting to kill Zhang Tao, Fong Ping grinned from ear to ear. Who asked you to be an unwelcome guest? Not anymore. However, toward Tianmu, Fong Ping really admired and worshipped him, a powerhouse who truly served the country and the people. He had no selfishness and a heart for the common good, to protect mankind. His entire family died in battle. It was MCMAU's honor to have such a powerhouse from MCMAU. Tianmu also had a lot of feelings for MCMAU. When MCMAU wanted to build its own production line, Tianmu went straight to Capital City without a word. He cared about the common good. If he were to talk about selfishness, he was probably biased toward MCMAU. At this moment, seeing Tianmu's desire, Fang Ping laughed and said, "Senior Tian, you said that when I want to be the vice-chancellor, you'll help me beat up Vice-Chancellor Wu, right?" "I promise. If anyone bullies me in the future, you have to stand up for me." "No problem." As he said that, Tianmu coughed dryly and said, "Don't bully others first. Also, if some people's descendants bully them, I might not be their match." As he said this, he even looked at Zhang Tao. "You understand? Old Zhang and old Li's descendants. Take it easy. He could not afford to be their backer. He could not beat them." Beside him, Wu Quishan no longer cared about these things. He raised his head and looked at the ceiling. "Forget it, whatever." Li Changxing wanted to support Fang Ping, Tianmu wanted it too, and the rest of MCMAU. This vice-chancellor was boring. Damn, should he take the initiative to give it away? At the same time, see if he could exchange it for some benefits? At this moment, old Wu was deep in thought. What kind of benefits were worth him exchanging the vice-chancellor? He did not lack rank, 9 divine weapons. He did not need many pills, natural treasures, and the like. If he needed it, he wanted to reach the pinnacle. Could this kid Fang Ping help him reach the pinnacle? If he could, who would care about the vice-chancellor's position? Wait a little more. When this kid gets something good that can help me reach the pinnacle one day, who would want to be the vice-chancellor then, as Wu Quishan thought about it? A strange smile appeared on his face. On Fang Ping's side, he took out 2 rank, 8 divine weapons again, and made a 100 billion loan slip at the same time. Sigh, there are already a few rank 9s. Fang Ping sighed in his heart. On the surface, there were only 35 rank 9s in Sino Nation. Old Wu and Tianmu had already fallen into the trap. As for Wu Chuan, who was ready to fall into the trap, Fang Ping shook his head. Old Wu had a divine weapon. It was not easy to fall into the trap. He would think about it later. When he gave things away, he did not really give them away randomly. He gave them to powerhouses who were close to him. As for the rank, 7 divine weapon from before, that was not considered a good thing. Besides, he took back a lot of resources. Because he did not exchange the vitality restoration pills and golden body pills, the system did not increase Fang Ping's wealth. This made Fang Ping very speechless. He planned to keep these things. It seemed like he could only continue to write loan slips. When he ran out of money in the future, he would collect the debt. Only then could he increase his wealth. Jade pendant. Fang Ping did not plan to sell the jade pendant. This thing was rare, but he did not need it for now. He would think about who was suitable to give it to later. Fang Ping took a look at the data on his interface. He was satisfied. His wealth had increased a lot. Wealth: 125 million points vitality, 15,000 calories, 16,600 calories, mentality, 1988 hertz, 2,105 hertz, destructive power, bone honing, 177 bones, 100%, 29 bones, 90%, storage space, 100 cubic meters, plus energy shield, 1 point/minute, plus aura simulation, 10 points/minute, plus old Wu's 100 billion is not included in his wealth. I'll collect the debt sooner or later. Among the many IOUs, only Wu Quishan's 100 billion was not included in his wealth. Fong Ping felt that it was still necessary to collect it. As for Zhang Tao, Fong Ping did not really be stingy. He had a lot of divine weapons. In the end, he still casually threw out 10 of them. It was nothing. Who cared? Even if he threw out 10, he still had 20. It was enough for MCMAU. Zhang Tao did not care about his attitude. His face was full of smiles. Coming to MCMAU, he had gotten 40 divine weapons. It was enough. Old Zhang had even overstepped his authority and promised Fong Ping the rank of general. From now on, he would have to call him General Fong. Fong Ping's position in the military department was considered the top. Unless he entered the military department, if he went up, he would be the deputy commander-in-chief or the commander-in-chief of both Magic City and Capital City. This time, everyone was really happy. Nan Yunyue was a little envious. It was a pity that the detective department did not have such a person, a big fat sheep. If one did not finish fleecing in one go, they could fleece again next time. Fong Ping was a big fat sheep. His hair grew very fast. He was simply a super big fat sheep. Did he not see Zhang Tao fleecing him a few times? Last time, he had already fleeced 5 divine weapons. This time, he had even more. What about next time? Nan Yunyue was calculating. When she reached the peak, could she try fleecing a few more times? Chapter 610. They sat in rows and distributed the fruits. Fong Ping, the fat sheep, had distributed most of the gains from the king battleground. Everyone was satisfied. Although the powerhouses didn't say anything, they were extremely satisfied in their hearts. Fong Ping was sometimes impulsive and reckless, but if it was for himself, this kid did not seem to care much for himself. Most of Fong Ping's gains were confiscated. Everyone was willing to bear the brunt of this guy's troubles. If he only took in and did not leave, he would only cause trouble. Then he would not be well liked. Fong Ping and Qin Fengqing's personalities were similar, but Qin Fengqing was not well liked. Powerhouses were not your parents. If you only knew how to take and not give, naturally you would not be well liked. Qin Fengqing did not even have enough cultivation resources. He had to think of ways to fight for himself. How could he have anything to give back to others? He was the only one who would bear the brunt of the trouble he caused. Everyone did not hate him. If he only caused trouble and could not bear the brunt of it, then he would really be a nuisance. Zhang Tao and the others were busy people. They left quickly. MCMAU was not the only one who had to prepare for Skygate City. They had to prepare too. Pull one hair, and the whole body will move. Although they had made a bet with King Huai, they still had to prepare. In particular, the Magic City catacombs weren't King Huai's territory. King Huai himself didn't interfere, but he couldn't protect the king of the monster plant bloodline and the Green Wolf King of the monster life bloodline. These were also unstable factors. If MCMAU really wanted to go to war, Magic City catacombs must have an absolute master. After dealing with these matters, it was already the night of the 8th. When Fong Ping came out of the guest hall, it was already dark. Outside the guest hall, Chun Yunqi was touring the campus with Fang Yuan. The two of them had been walking around MCMAU for a while and had been waiting here for a long time. Seeing that Fong Ping had something to do, the grandmasters were all smiles. Lu Fengru patted Fong Ping and smiled. Don't think about other things. Give yourself some personal space. We're going to gather the school instructors. It's okay if you come later. Lu Fengru was filled with emotions. A 20-year-old young man. Now, did he have his own personal time? The higher Fong Ping's success, the busier he was, the more he had to deal with, and the more he lacked his own personal time. A person like him might have unimaginably high achievements in the future, but he had also missed out on many things. Sometimes Everyone forgot that he was still a young man. The heavy burden fell on Fong Ping's shoulders. Fong Ping said that he wanted to train the students in this battle, but he was also thinking about these grandmasters who would agree to let the Heavenly Gate city master, who had a deep hatred for them, leave. But what could he do if he didn't agree? If Fong Ping had not suggested this battle, even if Wu Quishan had suggested it, Zhang Tao might not have agreed. Although Fong Ping's ability was not as strong as Wu Quishan's, he had made countless contributions and was also the leader of MCMAU's current prosperity. He had also entered rank 7. Zhang Tao actually attached great importance to a person like this who proposed to fight, and it was not just because of that god weapon. Fong Ping smiled and nodded. Beside him, Old Man Li also chuckled and said, "Kid, while you're still young, make a little Fong as soon as possible. Don't wait until you're really old." Fong Ping was speechless. Beside him, Chun Yinxi's face was bright red. Fong Ping was even more speechless. "Why are you blushing? We're not doing anything. Why are you blushing?" Everyone could not help but laugh. Fong Ping looked at Huang Jing and said, "Vice-Chancellor Huang, my sister will enter MCMU this year." Huang Jing's expression turned serious and said calmly, "You take care of yourself. Young people don't need to think so much. We're old. The future is yours." And trusting an orphan? When would it be Fong Ping's turn? There were many older generations in MCMAU. Fong Ping would not have to look for them. Fong Ping chuckled and nodded. "Understood. Let's go." The few of them did not stay for long and quickly left. After they left, Fong Yuan whispered, "Brother, you guys are going to war?" Fong Ping looked at Qin Yunxi, who quickly shook her head. Seeing this, Fong Yuan explained, "Instructor Qin said it. He said he's going to kill a bunch of powerhouses this time and chop off their heads as a greeting gift." Fong Ping's expression froze instantly. "Qin Fong Qing, mother of asterisk her, what's up with this bastard? Heads as a greeting gift? Your family is giving heads as a greeting gift." Seeing Fong Ping's expression turn sour, Fong Yuan pouted and whispered, "Brother, are we really going to war? Is it still related to the evil sex? You're just a kid. What are you asking?" Fong Ping interrupted her rudely and shouted, "Stop asking these questions. You're not an MCMU student yet. All right, it's getting dark. Go back early." "Brother," Fong Ping saw her pitiful look and said helplessly, "It's okay. What could happen to your brother? Qin Fong Qing died 100 times, and I'm still fine. If he dares to say he's going to chop off people's heads, do you think nothing will happen to your brother? Normal martial artist battles are nothing. Your brother even beat up Dean Tang. He's a grandmaster, and I'm one of the strongest among the grandmasters. Don't look down on your brother. All right, go back. Go back and cultivate well. Also, if Qin Fong Qing spouts nonsense again, tell me and I'll kill him. This guy, everything he says is true. Just pretend you didn't hear what he said." Beside her, Qin Yunxi also whispered, Yuan, it's okay. Besides, I'm going with Fong Ping this time. It's very safe." Fong Yuan heard Chun Yunxi say she was going too, so she was no longer worried. Chun Yunxi was only rank 5. Her brother was rank 7, so there would be no problem. "Then I'll go back," Fong Yuan said, then suddenly smiled and said, "Brother, why don't you have a chat with sister-in-law? Go away." Fong Ping pinched her cheeks until the girl looked like dough, then waved his hand and sent her away. Fong Yuan did not mind. She just had to get used to it. The little girl left happily. Fong Ping did not care about her. Neither did he ask anyone to send her off. A rank 1 martial artist was not so bad that she could not even go home. After Fong Yuan left, Qin Yunxi chuckled and said, "Sister Yuan is so cute. When you pinched her, I wanted to pinch her too, but I was too embarrassed. Fong Ping had pinched Fong Yuan's face until it was distorted, and Chun Yunqi had been holding back her laughter. She actually wanted to try, but now was not the right time. Fong Ping laughed as he walked. She's just a brat. What's so cute about her? When she gets into trouble, she'll give you a headache. Last time in Sun City, she started the Yuan Ping Club and recruited thousands of female students. I know about this, Chun Yunqi said with a smile. Sister Yuan Yuan told me. Oh, right, our school's Yuan Ping Club seems to be after Yuan Ping Club. You were so competitive back then. As soon as Fong Yuan said this, she guessed that Fong Ping had probably seen his sister start a club, so he followed suit. He even flipped the names on purpose. The siblings were very interesting. Fong Ping was slightly embarrassed, but he quickly recovered and smiled. Young and ignorant, you're not old now. You've learned to find loopholes. Fong Ping laughed and continued, What did I know back then? I didn't even go to the catacombs back then. I thought the evil sects were the biggest enemy and that humans could live and work in peace. At that time, I dreamed of building the world's largest e-commerce platform, a martial arts e-commerce platform. I started a club so that the members could run errands for me for free. I thought that after graduation, these people would become powerhouses, so I could find a group of people to work for me for free. It was a beautiful dream, but reality was cruel. The catacombs. Chun Yunqi's smile faded a little. She said softly, Fong Ping, don't put too much pressure on yourself. This is for you. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Fong Ping chuckled. I'm fine. Even if you don't say it, I know some things. As a man, living in this world, if you don't have the ability, then forget it. If you have the ability, then do it to your heart's content. The catacombs is a crisis, a pressure, but also a motivation and a source of strength. If I have the ability, then I should at least give it a try. I can't just wait for death, right? You're different. There's no need to push yourself so hard. The last time I went to the catacombs in South Capital, I heard. Fong Ping paused and sighed. Don't push yourself too hard. In these 2 years, everyone has seen your changes. You're the first rank 5 martial artist in this batch of martial arts universities. Outsiders think that you're relying on your grandfather, and that I'm the one who gave you some resources, but people with more resources don't seem to become stronger. Back then, I said that I won't talk about feelings until I reach a high rank. I didn't mean that you must reach a high rank. I just wanted to give myself some pressure, a little excuse. Chun Yunqi chuckled. You don't have to explain anything. I know. Anyway, we're still young. Whatever you want to do, just do it. Although I can't help you much, I'll definitely support you and accompany you all the way. One day, I believe that you can achieve everything. Fong Ping laughed, his palm pressing on her shoulder gently. Chun Yunqi blushed. After hesitating for a moment, she leaned on Fong Ping's shoulder. Fong Ping did not know whether to laugh or cry. This woman, don't you feel that something is wrong? I'm not trying to show off my affection with you. I'm giving you the imperishable substance to help you hone your internal organs and flesh. Rank 5 martial artists hone their 6 organs, meridians, and flesh. And the imperishable substance is extremely helpful in these aspects, which rank 8 martial artist is willing to consume a large amount of imperishable substance to help their own disciples break through to peak rank 5 quickly. Only rank 6 martial artists who have sealed off their Sanjiao gate would lose their use of imperishable substance. Right now, he was consuming the imperishable substance to help Chun Yunqi hone her body. What was this woman thinking? Chun Yunqi was not completely clueless. After a moment, her face flushed red. She did not even dare to look at him. She had misunderstood. Fong Ping did not mean to be more intimate with her. This was so embarrassing. Fong Ping did not say anything. Some imperishable substance circulated in Chun Yunxi's body. He said, "Go back and hone and absorb it. Now that you're the president of MCMAU's Martial Arts Society, it's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. If the students are going to fight in this war, then you'll have to take the lead." Fong Ping said, seriously, "You don't want to be a vitality martial artist, but you want to become stronger and you want to share my burden. Then I won't stop you from becoming stronger." Fong Yuan thinks so too, but what does she know? Has she seen the cruelty of the catacombs? She doesn't know anything. That's why I hope she can be a vitality martial artist in peace. It's best if she doesn't know the cruelty of being a martial artist for the rest of her life. As for you, you've already seen everything. You know what the catacombs mean. You still choose to walk on. Then I'll respect your choice. Yunxi, save your own life. If you die, there's nothing left. Live on. Live on until the day the war is won, until the day the threat of the catacombs is completely quelled. Maybe only then you and I can roam freely like wild cranes. We don't have to think about whether there's a tomorrow after today. War. I hate it, but I have no choice but to face it. Chun Yunxi nodded heavily. Go cultivate. Fong Ping waved his hand. He did not stay any longer and walked toward the auditorium. Chun Yunxi bit her lip without hesitation. She walked quickly toward the energy room. As for the imperishable substance Fong Ping gave her, although she was curious, she did not want to ask. Fong Ping did not give Chun Yunxi a divine weapon, nor did he give her the jade pendant. To Chun Yunxi, these things were a source of trouble. If a rank 5 martial artist had these things once she entered the battlefield, she would be a thorn in the eyes of the catacombs' martial artists. Divine weapons could not be kept in the Sanjiao Gate unless they were rank 7. The jade pendant could not release mentality, so she could not use it. Normal martial artists would not be able to discover this, but a desperate realm powerhouse could easily discover it. Although the possibility of encountering a desperate realm powerhouse was not high once she was targeted, it would be a disaster with no chance of survival. As for who to give the jade pendant to, she would see. The auditorium. When Fong Ping entered the door, it was crowded. As soon as he arrived, Zhang Yu stood up and shouted, "MCMAU instructors, except for Vice-Chancellor Liu, everyone is here. 975 people should be here. 974 people are here." Fong Ping heard that and laughed. He said, "From today onwards, I am no longer an MCMAU student. 976 people should be here. 975 people are here." As soon as he said that, many people laughed. At this time, someone said in a clear voice, "Zhang Yu, kid, did you count wrong?" Who said that there are only so few MCMAU instructors. Aren't we old fellows human? The person who spoke was none other than Sugiching. The old man's voice was loud at this moment, saying loudly, 37 retired MCMAU instructors have retired due to injuries. Today, all of them will return to the ranks of instructors. MCMAU instructors should be here. 1033 people are here. 1032 people are here. 37 retired instructors. These were all the retired instructors of MCMAU. As for the others, none of them retired. Only death awaited them. 61 years of the school's establishment. That was all. Above the auditorium, Wu Quishan said slowly, "Welcome back to the team. Instructors, 2010, 8th of August. MCMAU instructors 1033. 1 rank 9, 1 rank 8, 5 rank 7, 95 rank SIXS, 402 rank 5s, 420 rank 4s, 109 rank 3s. At this moment, Fong Ping had also walked to the auditorium. He was a rank 7 martial artist and a probationary vice-chancellor. Now was not the time to be humble. As soon as Fong Ping went up the stage, he said, "There are still 109 rank 3 instructors, less than I expected. I remember that when I returned in June, there were still 152 rank 3 instructors. Congratulations to all the instructors. Your strength has improved." In just 2 short months, 43 instructors had entered the middle ranks. This speed could not be considered slow. Rank 6 powerhouses, however, had the biggest increase. It was almost close to 100 people. It was not that the instructors had improved that quickly, but that the old people had returned to their positions. 37 old people. 25 of them were rank 6 martial artists. Before some of them were injured, they were actually not rank 6. However, on that day, Fong Ping gave back a large amount of imperishable substance to everyone. As some of the old people recovered, they quickly broke through their original shackles, located the Sanjiao Gate, and entered rank 6. After Fong Ping finished speaking, he smiled and said, "Let's not talk about business now. It just so happens that I have gained something in the catacombs this time. Rank 3 instructors, please step forward now. I hope that this time everyone can take the opportunity to enter rank 4. As Fong Ping spoke, Old Man Li's figure appeared, walking over with a golden statue-like powerhouse's remains in his hands. "This is my human ancient martial artist's remains. Today, MCMAU needs seniors' help. Please forgive us, senior." Old Man Li looked respectful and shouted, "Rank 3 instructors, please step forward. Whether we can enter rank 4 quickly depends on this one move. MCMAU is getting stronger day by day. Many students have already surpassed rank 3. Instructors should strive forward. Today, with the help of the seniors' strength, we must continue to work hard in the future. Do not slack off. There is no distinction between civil and military in martial arts. Since you have become a martial artist, strength is everything. The instructor's strength is not as good as the student's. How can we talk about teaching and educating? I hope that everyone can learn from the shame and work harder." Among the crowd, more than 100 instructors walked up to the stage, looking ashamed. Rank 3 instructors. This was the mainstream in normal martial arts universities. No one would think that rank 3 instructors were weak. However, in MCMAU, they had indeed embarrassed MCMAU. In the past year, they had not been lacking in resources and benefits. Most of them had actually stopped at upper stage or peak. There were almost no martial artists below upper stage. However, rank 3 was rank 3. It was really embarrassing to be surpassed by a large number of students. "Salute," Old Man Li shouted. One by one, the 100 instructors saluted the remains of the ancient martial artist. Martial artists were decisive in killing, but they rarely used the remains of their own people to improve themselves, unless it was absolutely necessary. When it came to the catacombs' martial artists, everyone could kill them and take their hearts. When it came to humans, if powerhouses died in battle, most of the time, their whole bodies would be buried. There were also special circumstances where some high-ranked powerhouses volunteered to donate their remains. At this time, they would be used for research or simply use the remains of powerhouses to improve their own strength. After everyone saluted, the 6 high ranks on the stage, other than Old Man Li, set up a mentality barrier one after another, enveloping these people and the remains. Originally, this remains had been sealed by Wu Quishan. Now, Wu Quishan had also unsealed it. In the next moment, an extremely powerful vitality force surged into the sky, but it was sealed by the barrier that everyone had set up. Vitality force permeated the entire barrier-bounded domain. A dead rank, 9 powerhouses' strength, was countless times stronger than these rank 3. Even a trace of vitality force was enough to shake them. At the same time, Fong Ping and the others crushed a large number of vitality pills. Some rank 9 energy stones were also crushed and thrown into the barrier-bounded domain. More than 100 rank 3s were breaking through the bottleneck. The vitality of a dead rank 9 might not even be enough. At this time, some of the martial artists who were originally only 1 step away from rank 4 had their bottlenecks shaken. Early stage rank 4, building the Celestial Bridge. If the Heart Bridge was built successfully, it would be early stage rank 4. If all the 5 Viscera bridges were built, it would be middle stage rank 4. Back then, Fong Ping built 5 celestial bridges in one go, directly crossing the early stage and entering the middle stage. Right now, these instructors could not do what Fong Ping did. However, building a celestial bridge with the cooperation of a large amount of vitality and other energy, very soon, someone built it successfully. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The quaking sound was endless. These people did not stay long after building the Heart Bridge, nor did they continue to build other bridges. Although the energy was extremely rich at this moment, there were others who were breaking through, so they would not continue to absorb this energy here. 1 person walked out, 2 people walked out. Gradually, about an hour later, more than 30 people walked out. The auditorium was very quiet. For martial artists, this amount of time was nothing. Seeing with their own eyes that MCMAU's instructors were about to enter the era of all middle ranks, some people's eyes were brimming with tears. MCMAU's golden age. In the 61 years since the school was established, they had just completed the era of all martial artists. Now, they were about to usher in the era of all middle ranks instructors. For the first time in 61 years, MCMU was powerful enough to make people tremble. There were 7 high ranks. Luo Yichuan and Zhang Jianhong had achieved mentality-vitality fusion. Luo Yichuan's instructor, Su Geching, and the dean of the School of Social Sciences, Chen Zhenhua, were also close to achieving mentality-vitality fusion. 2-digit high ranks were right in front of them. 40 people, 50 people, 60 people, more, and more people walked out. Below the stage, Qin Fengqing looked around, tugged at Zhang Yu, and said in a low voice, "When do you think MCMAU will enter the era of all high ranks instructors?" Zhang Yu looked at him with a blank expression. "Are you awake?" Qin Fengqing saw him looking at him like he was an idiot. He pursed his lips and said in a low voice, "Don't blame me for not promoting you. That kid Fong Ping, Vice Chancellor." Zhang Yu corrected him. Qin Fengqing's expression was dark, so dark that it could not be looked at. "I'm going to call you that kid Fong Ping. You're not happy with that. Damn, it's only been a day, and you're already changing the way you call me. Forget it, I don't even need to remind him." He originally wanted to say that he should get closer to Fong Ping. Fong Ping had a lot of tricks up his sleeves. If he sucked up to him, old Zhang, would also have a chance as a rank 7. But now, forget it. What was the point of reminding him? Look, he was already calling him Vice Chancellor. His relationship with Zhang Yu was not bad. When Zhang Yu was the president of the Martial Arts Society, he often cleaned up after him. If it was someone else, they would not have been able to stand Qin Fengqing. However, after thinking about it, Zhang Yu was also good at flattery. Qin Fengqing shrugged and kept his mouth shut. When Fong Ping came in just now, this guy had eagerly reported the situation, more enthusiastic than anyone else. Although this was what Zhang Yu was supposed to do, because he was now the deputy director of the school administration, specializing in this. However, Qin Fengqing still felt that this guy was just sucking up to Fong Ping. Flatterer. Qin Fengqing cursed in his heart. Zhang Yu had changed too. He was not like this in the past. In the whole of MCMAU, there was no one who was not a flatterer now. Just as Qin Fengqing was whispering below the stage, Fang Ping glanced at the barrier boundary. At this moment, there were still more than 10 people who had not broken through. As for the ancient martial artist's vitality force, it was slowly dissipating. It might not be able to support these people in breaking through. Seeing this, Fang Ping suddenly let out a low roar. There was no aura overflowing from his body, but everyone could see a thick vitality force surging toward one person. This martial artist, who was in the midst of breaking through, was stunned for a moment. He felt an incomparably strong vitality helping him build the celestial bridge quickly, and he did not show any signs of rejection. Focus, breakthrough. Fang Ping let out a low roar. At this moment, he was changing his own aura. His vitality came from the same source, helping others break through. However, he added an aura barrier on himself, so everyone could not feel anything. Only this martial artist, whom he was attacking, could feel some abnormalities. However, rank 3 martial artists might still have a hard time distinguishing some things. Fang Ping did not want to be too ostentatious. Actually, it was not difficult for him to help people improve their abilities, but he did not do this kind of thing often. When they were close to a bottleneck, he could help them. Following Fang Ping's move, the remaining people began to break through one by one. As for Fang Ping, he was sweating profusely at this moment, his face pale. If he did not pretend to be miserable, it would be too easy. What if they came looking for him in the future? When the last person built the celestial bridge, Fang Ping staggered and almost fell to the ground. Golden blood flowed from his mouth. The instructors who were helped all looked worried and ashamed. Fang Ping sighed in his heart when he saw this. I have no intention of buying people's hearts. Don't misunderstand. I'm just pretending to be miserable so that you won't come after me in the future. Not only these instructors, but all the instructors on and off the stage looked worried. Even a few grandmasters were frowning slightly. It would not be good if Fang Ping was injured too badly in order to help some rank 3 martial artists break through. In the crowd, Wu Quishan and Old Man Li looked at each other. They felt that this kid might not really be injured so badly. As for Qin Fengqing, who was below the stage, he did not care at all. Hypocrite! Fang Ping could even help rank 6 Old Wang and the others. He did not believe that this guy would be injured to this extent by helping a few rank 3 martial artists. Who was he trying to fool? As for Fang Ping, he did not continue. He quickly recovered his rosy complexion and said loudly, MCMAU instructors, all have entered the middle ranks. MCMAU's golden age has arrived. Congratulations to MCMAU. Congratulations to MCMAU. More than 1,000 middle-ranked instructors roared in excitement. Their voices traveled tens of miles. Inside MCMAU, in the university town, at this moment, one could hear the cheers and roars of extreme joy. Many martial arts university powerhouses looked helpless and envious. Did something good happen in MCMAU again? They had just held a Grand Master banquet for Fang Ping in the morning. Could it be that someone was going to break through to Grand Master in the evening? Being neighbors with MCMAU was really heart-wrenching. Genius in a second. Remember this site's address. Mobile version. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.